Yes.
I thought y'all get kick out of it. I was trying to get that to go for like the longest time too. Oh. All right, so tonight's co-host again, we have Timeless here, who is a CU core member, along with OV, who is operating the Dames on the blockchain account, or and Oculus Vision. Um, so let's throw some hands up. Let's give the claps around again. Let's since I got this so we got that now. So we're good. We got those. But yeah, let's get this thing going. You put out a tweet, I believe. So everybody, if you could retweet Dames on the Blockchain's tweet to get more people back in here, like we had. That would be
Yes.
greatly appreciated. But seriously, when my internet went out, I was like, bruh. Because I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, come on. Some shit was pissing me off, but that's what I get for living in the country, and I'm okay with it. Obviously, it does suck when it does go out, but the last 2 weeks I've hosted, it's been fine. But tonight it finally decided, hey, it's like, hey, third week, nah, not so good. But it is what it is. What were you ladies chatting about before I got disconnected and everything went
The
down?
Bitcoin ETF and then the
Okay.
grayscale case.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's so crazy, but yeah, they definitely had that thing locked and loaded in their pocket, like you had mentioned Wednesday night. They were ready to go. You just tell they were kind of antsy to probably use it because they're like, oh, I bet you them, but they were ready. They did. We'll see. I mean, obviously, it's just another negative thing for crypto, regardless if you're a maxi or not. Um, you know, what's that one GIF of or meme of was it Tom Hanks when he plays what's that one movie there? What can I think? Forrest Gump. When all the people are behind him staring at him and looking at and somebody put the name like Bitcoin over his head and then put the altcoins behind him looking what's the next move kind of thing. It's so true sometimes, most of the time. Kind of funny. But yeah, and then what was it, Van Neck or something like that? Immediately, I think today, reapplied for an ETF. So I wouldn't be surprised if they go ahead and file a lawsuit if they get denied as well. Will be interesting.
That was the one you were probably having connection issues. I wanted to go back. I was looking for my notebook. I wrote down who applied for the Bitcoin ETF again after being denied back in November. So yeah, that's what I was saying was extremely interesting that now it's going back and forth, and how Grayscale definitely had that shit in their back pocket. They didn't care what was going on in their life. Within that 10 minutes, they filed that thing. Like, oh, okay, don't play with us. We said this is what we were going to do.
Yep. Yeah, they're ready to do that. And thank you to everybody coming back. I'm sorry I live in the country. My connection goes out from time to time. That's all I can say. But thank you everybody for coming back and spending your time with us. We know it's valuable, most valuable asset, as I say every week, because you can't get that time back. So we appreciate you spending it with us. So yeah, let's. Did you ladies have anything more to add to that? I wasn't sure.
I did not. I don't
No,
know
I
if
didn't either.
Okay, I was going to say I may have
Okay.
cut off Oculus because I was trying to give the warning that Twitter might rug us.
Yeah, well, yeah, my internet rugged me. But yeah, let's move on. Something that's simple that a lot of people surprisingly don't know still is that you can use. This is more just informational than anything. You can use CoinStats, CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap. Not that I prefer CoinMarketCap, but some people find it simple. You can use them for price alerts or keep track of your portfolio. I definitely suggest if you haven't done so, it is free. To just kind of monitor your watch list, do that through there as well. You can also input your portfolio, so your buys, your sells. You can keep track of all that for yourself. Just a free tool for you guys. I know we don't ever really talk about it, but it's something that I guess I wanted to bring up tonight, just so you're aware. But go ahead, Dames.
Did you mention CoinStats? Am I?
Yes, I did. Yeah, that was the first one. Yeah.
I bought CoinStats when I first got into crypto in, I think it was 2017, and I've been using that app. I actually bought the paid version.
Oh,
I've
okay.
been using that app since it came out. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
They've actually gotten better over the years, and that's where I get my price alerts from. That's where I can figure out how much I can get for a certain amount of money, and that's also where I keep my portfolio. I don't actually connect it to the exchanges because I don't think that's safe. I don't use
Yeah.
that. But what I do is actually I manually go in there and put everything in. And the way they have it set up is that there's enough information in there for you to figure out, how much you lost, how much you gained,
Yep.
and everything else. And every time I talk to somebody, I refer them to this one because I've been using it for about 4 or 5 years. So it's a
Yeah.
very good one. Yeah.
Yeah, I figured I'd mention them because I know you use them. I used to use them on Android. I kind of stepped away from it. I just didn't like the interface and the lack of some things on Android specifically. I know with iOS it's probably a little bit nicer. But yeah, I'm glad you got the paid version of it. Obviously, probably some extra features on there as well. And there's also Coin Codex. That's another one that's pretty good that I know I used a couple years back. Still use it from time to time. But yeah, definitely, it's a good tool to see what your percentage is, how far you're down, how much you're up. It's just a free tool for you guys. And obviously, if you want to pay for the premium version of CoinStats, go ahead and feel free to do that as well. I'm sure there's like trial stuff for those type of things as well. But I definitely wanted to just bring that up in case any of you weren't aware of that for any of our listeners.
And I
And
will
then,
just interject right there. I do
yeah,
feel like Oculus gets alerts faster than I get my alerts on certain projects that we have alerts on
yeah,
of the same ones. I feel like with her coin stat, she does get it slightly faster than I get my alerts.
yeah. So there you go.
$30 a year, baby. Get your life.
That's really not that bad.
It really isn't, Wolf. I mean, $30 for the whole year, and you can do so many things to it. And
Hmm.
they've grown. So they're not as basic as they was when I first joined. Like I log into it now, and I get all these notifications. They have a section for articles and news and all of these things. They've actually been working on the app a lot. So
Yeah.
I think it's an excellent app.
Yeah, it's $2.50 a month, so $2.50 a month if you do that for the $30 for the year. So really, when you break it down like that, super cheap, super cheap. I mean, obviously we're in a bear market. Some of us are living off of ramen, but I think you can still afford it. But let's continue on here. Something I found funny yesterday. My wife actually alerted me to this, and this is funny because my wife is also invested in crypto as well, which is awesome. But she was on Coinbase yesterday, and she had showed me. She's like, "Is this new?" And I'm like, "Oh, I've never seen it." And she noticed that there's a Coinbase review section underneath all crypto assets on their site. So even ones that aren't even supported, you can go ahead and leave reviews underneath these cryptocurrencies. So yesterday I did post about XLM. There was and I blurred out the person's name, but I guess you can do reviews now, and you'd be surprised. I mean, sorry, this isn't a surprise. People are talking so much shit about Coinbase now that they added that review section under most of these crypto coins. So really, it's not an accurate review system. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do away with it because it's pretty much just people talking shit about Coinbase. But I was wondering, did any of you see that yet on the Coinbase app, specifically the mobile app?
I have not seen it because I have not.
Okay.
I don't think I've logged into Coinbase for probably about 2 weeks or so.
Okay. Right. Yeah, I just thought it was I just thought it was funny because you were showing me some of the reviews on there, and it was literally Coinbase customer service sucks. It's been months, like things like that. Or like they're stealing my money. Relist XRP. Like a bunch of different stuff like that. Underneath coins, it doesn't even belong to. So.
I mean, maybe they should figure out that customer service, and maybe they wouldn't be getting that. I mean, we are all a little sick of cut and paste answers, and you want to ask a question, and then half their customer service doesn't even understand crypto. What's
Yep.
MIM? I mean, okay, go home, please.
Oh my God! I just logged in, Wolf, and it's like they're trashing Coinbase. Anybody know a better?
Yeah.
Anybody know a better place to get crypto? This place sucks. They ask you how do you. They ask you how you feel about Bitcoin. It's like.
Oh my God. Yeah. People be wilding. And you know what's funny? Coin Market Cap actually introduced this first. on their website, like on all their crypto assets. If you look, they
And
have
you'll
like a
get
chat
DAMES
function.
rewards for it.
Yeah, yeah, but there's like a lot of bots, and a lot of people were getting scammed at first, and I think they probably still are because they can't eliminate all of them. But I basically called them out a couple of months ago because I was like, great job at not like limiting the bots that you have on your system that are just basically scamming people, trying to get them to do giveaways or reach out to support and things like that. Um, Coinbase obviously doesn't have that stuff up there yet, but pretty much they're getting smashed right now from users. And all these cryptocurrencies are unfortunately going to be the sufferers because people are going to go to the reviews because they don't know how to fucking do research. And I'm like, oh shit, it's got a 2-point star out of 5. That must suck. So I bet you they'll do away with it, pretty relatively quick here. Unless they delete all those reviews about them sucking or whatever. And you
That's
can only review
hilarious.
it after you purchase the crypto or something like that.
They might have to actually hire somebody for that position because I mean, Jesus, I'm on here right now looking at it, cracking up.
Yo, Coinbase, if you're listening, I'm willing. Send me in the game, coach. I'll handle it. I wouldn't mind doing that. That'd be hilarious. But yeah, I thought that was just something that was funny to bring up that my wife pointed out yesterday. I was like, wait, I didn't even know they had this.
And I almost logged in yesterday because I was going to send my AMP there and take profits because that shit shot up like 30-something% for no reason.
Yeah. Which was it? I'm sorry.
AMP.
Oh yeah, AMP. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I saw that yesterday too. I didn't see any news come out from Flexa, which created AMP. But I didn't see anything come off the AMP token website or anything like that or nothing. I didn't see any news. I mean, other than just normal TA breakout stuff. But it quickly came back down. I think today it's back under a penny. So I mean, a lot of
It
people
crashed
are day trading.
27% within like a couple hours.
Yeah, so if you literally just day traded it yesterday, you could have made a decent amount of money. And that brings up, I guess, the next point about Coinbase. I mean, obviously, we all know that they recently changed their reward systems. A couple of these crypto cards changed the reward systems where they were reducing rewards and stuff. Either whether it was anticipation of a bear market or not. I think AMP, is only it used to be there used to be a lot of 4% cryptos on there, including Stellar, which was like one of my favorites, and AMP. But now AMP's down to like 2%, and then they only have like a limited couple or a few that are like 1%. So it kind of sucks that some of these companies are, doing away with the nice little rewards they had on purchases. But I know just in the last year, I think I looked yesterday. I think me personally, and this isn't, I'm not bragging or anything. I'm just telling you information. I think it was like $2,500 I earned in rewards over the past year, over the past 12 months, which I'm grateful for. So that's awesome for using that. Yeah, I pretty much did all my purchases. I did all my purchases, all my bill paying and everything. I'm like, if I'm going to be paying my bills, if I was to do it through my debit card, right, I wouldn't be getting anything in my return. If I used a credit card, sure, I could get 1%, 1.5%, 2%, depending on the card, right? But I can earn 4% in crypto, and I was like, oh shit, let's do this. Let's do AMP and Stellar, and I rotated between the two. So that was nice, but yeah, I mean, unfortunately, they did away with that shit. I mean, they lowered the reward significantly. But go ahead, Ovi.
Yeah, I saw that's Solana was added to I think Coinbase staking where you get like I think it was 3.89%.
Yeah.
And they got roasted. They got roasted to smithereens. People were like, "Why would I put it there when I can get 7% here and there?" And I'm like, "Wow."
Yeah.
I think that well, you know what? I think that even though it's low, even though I'm cracking a joke, I just popped into my head that a lot of people can't stake or are not knowledgeable to stake at these other places where they can get a higher interest rate. And if it's actually a long-term hold, and you have, what's the problem? Put it in there and get the 3.89.
Yeah, that comes down to like the retail thing.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're fine. I was just done because we were talking about like the credit cards and AMP and staking and this and that. So that just popped into my head because it was on the it was on CT Crypto Twitter this week. So I just wanted to share that with the group.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. It's just what was the other one? Ledger. I know we were talking about like self custody and stuff. It'll be interesting to see with what Ledger if they're even going to come out with it anymore. That I feel like we've been on the wait list for the last year, but I don't think it's been that long. I'll have to take it back. I think they might have come out with that information in January. See, like January feels like a full year already for right now. It's only been like what 6 months. Um, but they have that debit card coming out. You know, that's linked directly um, to your Ledger account, and that to me is just another thing where they're going to monitor. They want to probably KYC that, but we'll see. Um, so we'll see if that comes out even. But yeah, the next thing I wanted to talk about. Did you guys see anything on the EU regulations? I did post earlier in the month that I said, by the end of the month, pay attention.
Oh,
We're
yes.
definitely going to have regulations coming out, and sure enough, it's the same thing where they came up with an agreement.
Oh,
Uh, you know,
yes.
So
Yeah,
go
yeah.
ahead.
Um, the EU actually came to agreements on a new law known as Markets and Crypto Assets, MiCA. And this is the first attempt at creating a comprehensive regulatory framework for digital assets in the region. Um, and I was doing some research earlier today, and EU lawmaker Stefan Berger, who was part of the Christian Democratic Union, which is basically a political party in Germany. Like America has Democrats, Republicans, Independents. So he's part of that party in Germany, and he said that rules will be put in order so the wild wild west of crypto assets. So that was pretty interesting that he said that. Wild wild west is kind of seems, that kind of gives the inclination that these crypto projects have been running around and doing a lot of things and basically harming investors. So, under these new rules that the EU came to an agreement with, stablecoins like Tether is going to be required to maintain ample reserves to meet redemption requests in the event of mass withdrawals. And MiCA, which I said earlier, is the markets and crypto assets agreement that the EU came up with. They are actually also going to address environmental concerns surrounding firms and their energy consumption, as well as the impact of digital assets on the environment. So this is a pretty loaded bill. I'm actually going to take some time out to read it, but that's actually what I found today when I looked it up. But Wild Wild West kind of led me to believe that there's a lot of lawmakers who are annoyed with what's been going on in crypto, and I think Luna I think Luna was like a big catalyst for a lot of these regulations. Even though they were coming, I think that now, instead of things being pushed off to the side when they come to these lawmakers' desks, they're actually getting a closer look because let's just face it, Luna actually did put a lot of people in poverty and, actually harmed a lot of people. So it's going to be interesting to see, exactly what this bill is about. I'm actually looking for the full document of this bill so I can read it.
It'll be interesting to see what happens. But I thought it was interesting when they used the Wild West analogy because it seems like every lawmaker is kind of using that verbiage. So yeah, we'll definitely see. Hey Thomas, did you have anything to add on that?
Not so much yet because I was really still looking into it because some of the different publications that I read, there was some conflicting information, but not a whole lot. But seeing as we want to be world travelers here in the next few months, I really wanted to dig in and really see what that meant and does that mean anything if I'm traveling with a passport and things like that. Because while I knew regulations were coming, I'm not a huge proponent in it, and I do feel like what I've read so far may be a huge overstep so far. But that's just my initial comment on it because I don't fully know and I have not fully read the whole thing yet.
the the wild wild west analogy is funny, but it's actually some accuracy to it because if you know anything about the West and cowboys and things of that sort, the rules were different, and you could basically do anything you want, and people actually just govern themselves. So that's, I think, why they use that analogy, because a lot of these crypto projects and what they're doing, they're governing themselves, and they don't really have to answer to anyone. I mean, of course, some of these projects are answering, but a lot of people have lost money over the years, where a lot of these projects have gotten away with it. So there does need to be some kind of wrangling in of what these projects are doing. But the only concern I have is that, the rush to do something where you have a group of lawmakers who truly don't understand what crypto is about. That's my only concern. Do I want Luna to be responsible? Hell yeah. I mean, Do Kwon, yes, him or any other of these exchanges or anything. Yes, I want them to be held responsible, but you don't want somebody just coming in there making a bunch of rules and they don't even understand what blockchain is or things of that sort, because that's when it gets a little sticky for me, in my opinion.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
and I'm a little hesitant when you look at regulations and things like that and the rush to bring them in, because just like, as only an example, in the US when 9/11 happened, they rolled out the Patriot Act. The Patriot Act was initiated to the US citizens as a temporary measure as protection, which meant, hey, we can surveil you, we can listen into conversations, we can do X, Y, and Z, all these things, but it's only temporary. But one thing that we have learned the test of time over and over and over, if a government puts any type of regulation, law, and act into play, even if they say it's temporary, I have never, ever in my life seen one roll back for being quote unquote temporary.
Yeah. If yeah, I always be worried when it says temporary, right? But yeah, I mean, it appears to be Canada, European Union, the United States, and somewhere else that Coinbase just recently had to start tracking, any transfers over 1,000. But it seems like these places. Yeah, big crabby. Yep. Yep. Sorry. My daughter is in here with me right now. Yeah, honey, hold on. And it just seems like some of these places are really just really trying to crack down on like the identity part, because they're supposedly trying to track, bad actors, but realistically they're still going to continue to use fiat currency because it's just the easiest, right? While sure, some people are using blockchain technology to do all that, it's still a small percentage compared to, good old dirty fiat. But yeah, do you guys have anything else to add to that, or you guys want to, you ladies want to move on?
I'm good with moving on.
Okay, cool. The next thing I wanted to bring up, we learned over last weekend, I believe, after our last Friday Live Space, that Goldman Sachs was seeking to raise $2 billion from investors to potentially purchase assets from Celsius. I thought that was hilarious because, like vultures, like I was talking about earlier, Wall Street vultures, right? They're trying to swoop in and possibly pick up these companies for, for cheap, basically. What are your thoughts on that? Curious.
Whoa. Go ahead, Oculus, because I can say so much, especially when Celsius is involved. Go ahead.
Well, Goldman Sachs, very old. Seems like, what, this is actually the way these older financial companies break into things is just like this. It's like sort of like a takeover of companies or other things in distress. So I'm not surprised that Goldman Sachs is actually seizing the moment. Carpe diem, carpe noctem, seizing the day, seizing the night. Hey, if it can actually help investors like you, Thomas, and like everybody else who has their funds locked up on there, then why not? But I'm actually not surprised, because Goldman Sachs has been dibbling and dabbling for a long time. And at first, they were against doing anything with cryptocurrency a few years ago. Now, because their investors actually want it, they've realized that they've had to actually feed their investors what they want. So now they're actually interested in things like Bitcoins and and stable coins of that sort. So hey, this is all a strategic move. And remember, as we've said before, Thomas, old money is going to look to stay relevant. So they're going to get into new money. Goldman Sachs is old money. JP Morgan is old money. Wells Fargo was old money. So I'm not surprised that they're trying to get into new money. Seems smart to me if you're trying to stay relevant.
See, with me, I'm not surprised that old money's trying to jump in here and capitalize on it. The thing that I was looking at is the numbers and the figures that were being thrown around. This would be beneficial to Goldman Sachs, but it would not be beneficial to the investors because, well, from what I've read, let me just preface that. I've read quite a bit on it, but there's still a whole lot more to research and dig in. But upon my original research, that when I've dug in, it doesn't seem that this one will be beneficial for the investors. It's going to be the benefit the old money, Goldman Sachs, and their people, because the money and the figures that they're talking about raising and to put in doesn't even clear the deficit that has been brought to being apparent to all of us of how deep in the hole Celsius was by getting liquidated on certain trades that they had out there and all of that. So money and numbers don't add up to me for it to be a potential of me getting like my Matic off of Celsius. But I mean, I guess the test of time we'll see, but the money and the numbers don't add up to be beneficial for it taking over Celsius and to put investors back in their same position at least. It looks like it's just them coming into Commandeer, take that space, and then start it from that moment forward.
Yeah, let me just read this small part because I see what you're saying now. It said Celsius promised higher than usual annual interest rates on crypto deposits for making crypto loans. The company was one of several that suspended withdrawals and swaps and transfers in early June due to the volatility in crypto for the past few months. The company, meaning Celsius, was reported to have 11.8 billion in assets in May, which was a huge downward shift from the 25 billion it had in October. Wow. So Goldman Sachs is they trying to get this on sale. Wow.
Clearance.
Oh my
Not
God.
Sale,
this is like crazy. They're really $2 billion. Wow. See, yeah. But see, that's what I'm saying about how old money works. They're trying to actually toss a small fish in the water and see if they'll grab it. Because now it's like trying to see how desperate they are. Maybe that's crazy. That's how much Celsius had and what they have now and what Goldman Sachs is actually trying to raise. $2 billion is nothing when you've had like 25 billion in October, which was what, less than a year ago. Wow.
Right. And
wow.
Then because of the crash of Luna and the people that have been looking at their books of the possibility of coming in as a partnership or a buyout, there is $6 million. I believe it was $6 million. There's a hole of $6 million that is gone from them mismanaging funds, doing trades that they lost out on, and different things of that nature. So there's $6 million since Luna that is missing from their books. And that has caused a few people to step back and say, that offer and that talk we were doing is not necessarily something that we're interested in now. That $6 million is just missing from the books. So with Goldman Sachs saying that they want to raise the $2 million, and yeah, they might throw a little extra on the back end, but that still doesn't make up for the deficit there, and that still doesn't make up for a cushion for an investor to even think that they might even open up the trading as a potential small time to even get your assets off, because they've leveraged your assets so far down that essentially, even though that there's a worth on each one of those assets, it's worthless in Celsius right now.
Yeah, 2 billion is nowhere near 11 billion or 25 billion. That is just way off. Yeah, so I understand what you were saying.
Yeah. Well, thank you, ladies. Appreciate you handling that like a boss. Always love that insight. So we recently found out, El Salvador bought the dip again, and so did MicroStrategy. Everybody, I mean, good for them. I think that's it's good. I like seeing a country go out there and put their neck on the line. Because obviously they made it legal tender over the past year. So it's definitely awesome to see. Give me one sec.
Oh, and for sure on that, because El Salvador is one place that once the danger calms down some, I can't wait to go. And I want to film Bitcoin Beach and me using a small Bitcoin wallet while I'm there to share with everybody who hasn't had a chance, because they really have enacted it and it really is working. So people think it's just rumors and tabloids and this and that. No, El Salvador is using Bitcoin and it's all over the beach in different towns.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is still what they're doing, but wasn't El Salvador actually mining their Bitcoin from the energy from volcanoes? Because
they were trying to.
Yeah, they were trying to. Because I know they're in a seismic area. Because wherever there's earthquakes, there's a volcano. That's just that's just really what it's about. So, I think it's pretty interesting how a lot of these and I really hate using this word, but third world countries are turning to crypto to do things like keep their country afloat and bring in more and bring in more money. So um, I know the president of El Salvador, he's like heavily into Bitcoin. Um,
and he a G.
It's it's going to be actually interesting to see how far he keeps going with this. I actually think it's very good for El Salvador. I think it's very good for them. I think it'll be good for their economy, and I think it'll just be a boost to because El Salvador had a lot of like inner conflicts going on for years and decades. So hopefully this can help repair the country and, like I said, bring more income into it.
Right, because the big thing is they have their inner gangs and the ones that will go to local businesses and demand a bribe or their protection. And if they don't get it, I mean, I follow some YouTubers that were just down there and they go everywhere. They actually turned away around from going a little bit out of Centro in one of these main cities because there were gang members on the side of the road holding semi-automatic weapons and grenades. So we might see gangs and stuff, but what they have been known to do is if these businesses don't pay them in their fiat, they are attacking. If it's a bus thing, they're attacking the buses. They don't care if there's civilians in there. They're shooting it up. They're throwing grenades at it. They're setting up explosives. So what kind of then starts happening if more and more of these businesses down the road, since it is legal tender, it allows a way of tracking, and they can't just come in there and demand the fiat that they might have in the building or else. Okay, now you might come in there here in some time. It's not going to happen overnight, obviously. But then demand a bribe, and the way you're getting money is Bitcoin. Okay, well, I'm going to give it to you. Well, this president is not playing either. They will have a unit that is going to backtrack that because he's already did a large gang roundup. That's the reason why he didn't attend the Bitcoin conference, is during the time of the Bitcoin conference.
Oh, I was
Florida,
wondering why. That's why. Okay,
he did a mass gang roundup. So while there's a lot of evolution within their financial structure and the things that are going on, it's still extremely dangerous. There's a lot of civil war. There's a lot of gang war. There's still some dangers down there. But essentially what's going to happen on the back end of Bitcoin, it's going to give it a rise in its value as a country, but it's also going to allow their national business owners to be a little bit safe, or a backup of being safe from being conned out of all their money, or them and their families getting killed.
Yo, check it. He just bought the dip. It says that he purchased 80 more Bitcoin at $19,000 each. I just shared the article in the Nest, and check his picture out. That's what he's.
Oh, and he doesn't play. If you go follow his Twitter and then you translate it, he don't play with trolls. He doesn't play with anybody. He will let you have it. If you come at him, he don't give a damn that he's a president. He's young. he don't give a damn, and he's going to let your ass have it. And I think sometimes some of these developing countries, that's exactly what they need. And he had the wherewithal to look forward at a new monetary way of holding wealth and value, and he's seen it in Bitcoin. And while some of us might say, you know what, Bitcoin's so expensive for me, or I really don't want to hold it like that, as a country that's saying a lot and being innovative, especially as their economic structure is set up down there right now.
Yeah, smart move. Smart move. Great point you brought up, Wolf. Great point.
Yeah. No, I love that you two can just carry on that conversation. It's awesome. My daughter came in the room and she was upset, so
Oh no,
I had to do
we know you got the babies. We got you, Wolf. We got you,
that.
Wolf. We know you got the
Yeah,
babies.
yeah. I do want to bring something else up. Like, I mean, I don't really care for MicroStrategy that much because I don't really like Michael Saylor, but it is what it is. The guy's trying to do things for Bitcoin, so whatever in the space. But I really like the El Salvadorian president's view on Bitcoin and what he's trying to do because they even recently partnered with, I think 2 companies that are helping get like a Bitcoin diploma, vocational diploma or whatever, to help students understand in the curriculum in these 2 specific public schools, and it has to start somewhere. And it's starting in fucking El Salvador of all places, where these kids are starting to learn about the fiat currency system and investing and what Bitcoin is, what blockchain is. Like they're learning all these different terms. They're learning what it is. They're learning about the Bitcoin Lightning Network. They're learning about all these things. And then at the end of it, they get their own private Bitcoin wallet. And they get to run through it and stuff. I think that's amazing because I teach my children that stuff. Because it has to start when we're young. So that way they can go on and learn more and teach the younger folks coming in, or so that way they're knowledgeable when they're old enough to really get a grasp on this and maybe be way wealthier than their dad ever could have been or anybody. So it's definitely key, and I think that's awesome. They're doing big things down there. But go ahead, Thomas.
And then on the other spectrum of it, that I think was really cool. Like I said, I do follow some travel YouTubers because that's my interest in stuff. So I was just following one of my favorites that was just down there, and he went around and he was trying the different restaurants and stands and getting coconuts and all this. Well, he was moving around so much and excited that he had put money on this Bitcoin while he had sat down for lunch, got the way to pay for it, and was so excited about doing it, and he forgot. Well, he forgot to tip. He got back to his hotel and was looking through it, looking through it. He was like, "Oh my goodness, I forgot to tip them," and that's something that he wanted to do. And with using this Bitcoin wallet, he was able to do it right there, and even send a memo if he wanted to within the wallet. So there's a lot of things, especially in a developing country. Hey, if you might not have had all the funds on there right away, or you had a spectacular service and you want to just leave them a note later on and give them a little tip or give them a little encouragement, you have that availability too. So not only is there education on one end, there's a way of really giving back in these businesses and these family-owned businesses to really try to thrive in a time in the world where everything is so volatile, especially in a developing country. So I think it's extremely special, especially when you see such a smaller country that's just tucked away down there in Central America and really trying to do things that is pegged by the gang violence. It's pegged by being a not wealthy country and being marketed out of exports and imports because El Salvador has been also being used as a government pawn for many other countries too. So with them allowing themselves to get on Bitcoin and then building an infrastructure around it, it allows them to gain some independence, to not have some of these countries have so much over their head, so then they can be a developing country that can actually put their foothold within the things that are happening within the world, instead of having to be on the back of somebody else or another country trying to come in and create a coup because they have money or they have something over them. So I really am enjoying watching the structure build up, and I really appreciate this conversation. conversation because it really speaks deep to my heart, especially on that travel side and looking at world economics and how things are running together.
For sure, for sure. Go ahead, James.
I think it's interesting how these countries are reinventing themselves because their dollar is worth next to nothing. I remember how well Venezuela was doing when Hugo Chavez was in power because oil was at like high. It was like what $100 a barrel. But then when oil dropped to $20 a barrel, his country was in turmoil because they didn't actually do well with their oil reserves, and they didn't do well with the money that they made from the oil reserves. So I'm sure we all remember Hugo Chavez coming to the United Nations, talking crap to George Bush and telling him that he supplies oil to his country and all of this stuff because it was a big thing. But if you look up what is going on in Venezuela now, they still, even though petrol is expensive, they still are not able to take advantage of that because they mismanage their funds and mismanage their reserves. So it's excuse me, actually interesting to see how these countries are reinventing themselves to say all that with crypto. You know what I'm saying? I love the innovation, and sometimes it does take someone younger, like the president of El Salvador, to look at things differently. Because I really do think that a lot of these countries do have to look at other things beside their fiat dollar, especially if it's worth nothing. I think the Venezuelan dollar is worth less than a penny, like much less than a penny, like it's useless. You know?
Uh, Excuse me. But yeah, that's it's crazy. Um, let's. I did want to bring something up, but I'm glad we had that conversation. Um, Specifically about El Salvador too. I mean, there are other countries as well that are looking into making legal tender, and let's not knock Bitcoin either. And a lot of people, unfortunately, will always knock it. We'll always have those people. Um, which is unfortunate, but most of the time those are maxis for other different cryptocurrencies. But that's a whole
But
nother
that
conversation.
also allows us to understand how spoiled of people we are to be able to be maxis on one thing or another, or to have your favorite and knock another one that actually has real world use cases. So it just shows us that we are spoiled people because it gives us that freedom to have that kind of thing. But just on the back end of this, because I know we're about to move on, I went into our Hispanic neighborhood in the neighboring town because I live between two cities. In every last store and grocery store now in the Hispanic and the Latin American communities all through there all have a crypto ATM now. And I actually was going to go mess with it tomorrow just to see how it is. But every last one of them does have it now, which is interesting. And there is a sign, and it's in English and then in Spanish saying, one thing that we can do for our community is give you the opportunity to send money to your family south of the border and not be caught up in the gimmicks and the schemes of the fees associated when you're using these other agencies.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and you can. I mean, what some of these things take what multiple days, even weeks. So, um, crypto's 24/7, 365. I mean, you can send over $100 million worth of Bitcoin using Lightning Network for under $1. So, or you using the use XRP or XLM within seconds, for so cheap. But yeah, yeah, definitely good. Um, I did want to bring something up, and I didn't learn about it until earlier today. Yeah, but it got by me somehow. Is you guys remember HTC, the phone brand? Um,
Oh, yes.
Yes. Oh, yes.
yeah. So I actually used to have one. I used to like it because it was like one of the first phones that had like the interactive display. So like if it was snowing outside, it would like your screen would as soon as you turn it on would snow on it and stuff. I thought it was pretty cool. I was so young when that happened, but uh, they just came out with the HTC new Desire 22 Pro, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you can manage cryptocurrencies and NFTs right on the phone. And it kind of went underneath the radar because of the Solana blockchain phone that we were all laughing about it last week or something like that.
Is that the one associated to the Orion protocol?
I'm not 100% sure. I from what I've seen, I don't think so. Because I didn't see anything in here about Orion.
Oh yeah. Wow, HTC. I just pulled it up. Wolf.
Yeah.
Nice find. Oh.
Yeah. So they have an app called Vive Wallet, and I guess that comes preloaded on the phone. But they're like a metaverse futuristic phone because they allow you to interact with their VR and stuff. So it's definitely interesting. I definitely suggest people to not obviously buy it, but check out the article. Just type in HTC Desire 22 Pro and dig a little bit deeper on it because it is interesting. And like I said, I didn't find that until today. And apparently, this news is like a couple days old already. So, but it's just so uncovered. I didn't hear anything about it.
I haven't
whatsoever.
I've only heard about the one associated to the Orion protocol.
It has Gorilla Glass. Ow.
Yeah. So that thing is the screen is pretty much almost indestructible, right?
Right.
I think most TVs not most, I shouldn't say most, but most, or some TVs nowadays come with the Gorilla Glass. They have been for a while, but I know specifically Sony's had Gorilla Glass on them. So that's interesting. It looks like a good phone. It's interesting because they're not gearing it fully towards crypto, kind of like Solana was doing, but they're definitely marketing it towards like a metaverse / cryptocurrency wallet phone / NFT thing. So definitely interesting, but definitely flew under the radar. So like I said, definitely check it out. So pretty good specs on it actually. It's like a fucking mini tablet. It's a 6.6-inch screen.
I'm checking
it's
out
huge.
the specs. It is.
You see that 8 gig RAM?
Yes.
That is a computer speed in a fucking phone with 128 gigabyte storage, and the battery life will probably last 24 to 48 hours on you.
I shared a short article in the space in the in the Nest. So
okay, I'll have to. Okay.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
But yeah, it went underreported. I swear, obviously with everything, there's always specific news that will be shared, and some that aren't.
They said it's supposed to be released like in July of 2022.
Yeah, I think it just came out. Wow. I think it just came out. Like it literally just did. Unless it didn't. I mean, I'm pretty sure because it was a surprise release.
Right. The operating system is Android. Okay.
Yeah, it's Android. Yeah.
Has a great camera. Wow.
64 megapixel. Yep. Right. It's better than cameras, like regular handheld cameras.
I'd actually want to hear about HTC bringing out a phone rather than fucking Solana because HTC is actually, it's an older brand. I know a few people that were, in Asia and other places like overseas who had HTCs. When I had like when I had like my iPhone 3 and my BlackBerry with the Quitree screen and all that. So yeah, people were actually happy with their HTC. So it's pretty cool that HTC is trying to get into the metaverse thing with this phone,
Yeah, and it was a surprise release, so I think that caught a lot of people. I mean, that's probably why it's been so quiet.
Right.
Because I mean, this is big news in my opinion for crypto because you have a brand that's huge, a Taiwanese brand that's huge, that's been around, since at least I was in high school. That's been in the smartphone game, and now they're gearing it towards cryptocurrency and VR and metaverse. Like that's huge in my opinion, and they're not bragging about it. They're not over marketing it or anything. I think this is actually a smart move. Unlike Solana, who needed to work on their exactly. That's what you should do because it's almost like under promising and over delivering, right?
Absolutely.
Which I would rather have. Than unfortunately Solana having a smartphone when they can't keep their network up. So,
the big thing with that is going ahead. Right, yeah.
Hey, Josh is here. I know he's listening. He can check out that article because we already know he's not buying the Solana phone anymore.
Right. And that's the biggest thing is
Josh.
like, don't let people know what you're doing. And then that means they've been able to test it and do that without people just prying at them, talking shit to them on so, well, when is it coming? I thought it was coming. So it's like they've been doing all these battery of tests. They've been in the market, so they know what they're doing. So that's really interesting. I'm more excited about that than any of the other ones that I've heard about. Well, I
Yeah.
am kind of excited about the Orion Protocol one, only because I like Orion Protocol, and I've been kind of paying attention to that. But this one actually bumps ahead of that due to their place in the market already in the things that they've already been able to establish.
Yeah, for sure. What's up, Josh? What's up?
Happy Friday, y'all.
Hey,
Yes, sir.
Josh.
I hear OV hating on that Solana phone, but that HTC phone sounds pretty cool. I was looking at the article.
Yeah.
Oh, Josh, you didn't want that freaking Solana phone either.
Nah, let them push the boundaries. Let them. They're making
No, he was right.
HTC release their information before they wanted to.
Yeah, so actually, Josh, you're kind of right? You said they're gonna make people push the envelope, right? And I mean, who knows if this was already in the works prior to the Solana? Obviously it was, because it does take a while to manufacture a phone, or well, less than a year at least we've seen with most of these companies. But it is interesting that after you said that last week, now we get a surprise. Pretty much, I don't want to call it a cryptocurrency phone, but a cryptocurrency friendly phone from a major brand. So definitely interesting timing on that. But it goes to your point.
Yeah, indeed, interesting timing. I mean, I'm sure they've had it in the works for quite some time. It's not, you can't just make a phone that's crypto ready like in a month. So I'm sure they've been working on it. It's good news all around as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Just surprised it hasn't been talked about more by like some bigger news companies in crypto. But you know what? If we're gonna report it, we're gonna report it right, which we did. So I'm happy we found that to
Real
let people know. Go ahead.
real quick, and I'm not sure if it's FUD or if it's just hearsay, but I was just scrolling through some discords and somebody had come out and said to pull your stuff off of KuCoin because they're going to suspend withdrawals. Now, I don't know how serious it is or if it's, real fake, but somebody took the time to screenshot a couple conversations with somebody about it. So just throwing that out there.
Yeah, we did bring it up in our so I've got disconnected at least once tonight. But we did bring it up earlier. But basically, I said, it's a rumor for now. They said it was because of the Luna collapse. But if anything, I think that KuCoin, out of most of these exchanges and BitTrue, exploited their customer base and made a shit ton of money off of it. So I don't see them in any trouble. Obviously, that could change day to day. Like I said, it's a centralized exchange. They could pull the fucking plug tomorrow on all of us. And that goes to the other point of, self custody. But we definitely did touch on it earlier. Thymeless or OV, go ahead and feel free to chime on that again.
As you guys are talking, I'm in their Telegram and I see people pissed off with an influencer, that Otaru guy spreading FUD so people can start to withdraw. Still no official statement from KuCoin, and I've been looking at this ever since earlier today about when I first saw the notification, and I asked an influencer who had about 150,000 followers. I was like, "Source, please," and I even tweeted his fucking tweet, and he didn't say anything. And then when I go into the comments, I'm reading it, and I don't see anything. And then he says, "Well, I got it from another influencer who covers KuCoin very closely." So, it kind of feels like influencer FUD. And that's why I'm pretty hard on those motherfuckers, because they actually do a lot of shit like this and they don't actually have a source. I've asked for a source. Even in their comments, people are asking for a source. Like, where's the official? I mean, KuCoin is pretty active on CT. If you actually follow KuCoin and have your alerts on, and even for the CEO and the head of KuCoin, they're pretty active. Nobody has said anything. And when I went to their Telegram, there is congestion because I'm sure this tweet scared people who have buy orders or who are just waiting to buy the dip. and have their money on there and just have it sitting there. So there is congestion, but there's a lot of people who are actually able to get their stuff off. But like I said, when I ask for the source, if I can't get a source from your tweet, then I really don't believe you. And it's kind of unfortunate that somebody with over 100,000 followers is tweeting this bullshit and they don't have a source.
Their source is their short list.
Yo, for real though. I mean, you hit the nail on the head there, probably. Yeah, I just don't. I mean, I just think it's convenient timing as well, with all the other shit that's been going on with all these exchanges. I
And guess
mean,
what? QCoin is trending on Twitter.
yeah,
Guess why? Guess why?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I saw the guy had like 142K followers or whatever that put out the tweet earlier this afternoon, and then everybody's copying and pasting it, and then I saw an influencer change his profile picture to KuCoin and change his username to KuCoin, but kept his at the same, so it's like a joke. And he posted, "Hey, sorry, as of right now, we're pausing all withdrawals, deposits," and people are taking it so seriously, and it's not even
He's an
KuCoin.
asshole.
Yeah,
What,
That's
yeah.
a
what
So
major asshole.
what's the end game with that? Why would they even I mean, other than to get themselves
likes, likes and
likes
follows.
and oh, that's horrible.
Come on, it's clickbait.
And probably shorting right now.
I
So
was just gonna say that. Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
people are funning. So guess what? It's making things drop. And guess what you do when you're doing shorts? You're making money on that drop. So they're
Yep.
lining their pockets right now by instilling this fear and especially like going off of all the news that's happened, especially since freaking Wednesday when Wolf was even talking with us on Dames on the Blockchain. Since Wednesday to today, all this shit coming out on these exchanges, some being bought, some are halting transactions and their debit cards. So it's like a mixing pot of emotions, and people have nothing better to do right now because nothing is soaring. So people can't be talking about all their gains. So now let's figure out another way of doing this, and now we're here.
If it's not the green stream, there's nothing to talk about.
Facts.
Oh, Josh, you need to behave yourself. I got you. Josh.
Hey yo. Oh man. All right. Um. All right. What else? Oh, so Binance. I don't know if any of you use Binance or even are allowed to. I know Binance US is mainly used in the United States, obviously. But Binance recently signed two major, celebrities, I guess you could say. One, obviously a footballer for soccer. And then I'm trying to think, how do you pronounce his name? I feel so, Rolando or whatever. I feel so shitty for
What was that? The soccer dude? What's his
Yeah.
Rolando.
Oh man, I'm terrible with it. Don't hurt me, anybody who likes soccer. Um, and then and he's got like millions of followers. And then you have,
Cristiano Ronaldo.
yeah, everybody thinks he's super attractive, right? Got it. And then you have Kabi Lane, I think is how you say it. He's got over like 167 TikTok or Instagram followers, whatever it is. Million followers there. So Binance just signed some major marketing. That's their marketing move right now, obviously.
Yeah, the Binance superstar.
Yeah, that's yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So
that
they're
guy is
out
funny
there.
though. He's freaking
Oh
funny.
yeah, I love when he puts his hands out. If you could see me right now, you'd be like, like some of the shit is just funny because it's true. Like some of these people don't fucking think, but that comes down to common sense, which unfortunately, some people lack. Um, but yeah, it is pretty funny. Um,
I kind of do you like the little. Well, I understand influencers. They do this. The word influencer means something. They're able to reach people in ways that other people can't. But do you like the strategic move that CZ did with actually hiring this guy? What do you think about that? Wolf and Thymeless and anybody else on the speaker or anybody else down in the nest. What do you think about that?
I mean, personally, I mean, the both of them are just Kabi.
Go ahead, Josh.
So I
Well,
seen a
Wolf had
couple.
asked if
Sorry.
who you meant. Hold on, just a second, Josh. Wolf, I don't know if you heard him, Oculus, but he was asking if you meant both of them or just Cobby.
Oh, Cobby. I'm sorry, guys. Cobby, you know, the black dude. Sorry, Cobby.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No,
Him.
okay. I didn't know. My mic sucks, I guess. But no, I mean, it's no different than hiring somebody for a sports drink, and having them go around and, if they have a large following or they're a sports player. Um, but obviously, we're in the day and the age of social influence, and if you have a social media
Right.
influencer who has
Right.
140 plus million people and that much reach, I mean, yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty smart. I mean, because then they can pay him less than maybe somebody who does marketing on their team for,
That's what I was looking for.
whatever. So yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So I
Yes.
definitely think that's the case. But I think Josh was next.
No, I had a bunch of friends who were into crypto, whatever, and like, oh, this guy's the new Binance guy. I had no idea who he was, the soccer player. No idea. I assumed, I was like, it must have to do with sports because I don't follow sports, and I figured it must have to do with soccer because I've never heard the name in my life before. But I think it was a very strategic move by him, 100%, especially with both of them, but with the TikToker too. I mean, the TikToker guy is not. I mean, I know he's super famous, and his little putting his hands up and shrugging his shoulders is his whole gimmick with his TikToks. But it's a very modest, I think, hire when it comes to advertisement, I guess, or endorsements. I mean, with the TikToker, I guess. I mean, he does have a lot of followers, so he gets a big reach, but he's not some very outspoken, like in your face type of guy. So I think it was a good move by them.
I also think it was a symbiotic relationship. So there's an extended reach on one side. They don't have to pay him as much as somebody else. But I also think it's extremely cheesy. The Binance guy, and then like a whole making him like he's a superhero and shit. Like, yo, you're not a superhero. Um, let's like, he's not gonna, and that's so I think the biggest problem that I have with it, even though it's strategic, the issue that I have with it is now putting it in the hands of another influencer that will essentially influence people how to invest. It's not just going to be Binance. It's going to lead into how to invest again. And so now you're going to have a whole different generational type of influencers with exchanges. And I think while it might be smart business moves and fiscally responsible because you're not paying out that much for these influencers, I think in the back end it might be more detrimental, in my opinion.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, does anybody remember the 1-800 collect guy? Remember when collect calls
What
were
800
like a
not your baby?
throwaway? Yeah, yeah. Remember that? They just get like basically, and this was before the internet age, but you could just get some regular Joe Schmo that can appeal to the people. So now that we're dealing with the internet age where you have TikTok and Snapchat and Facebook and Instagram with reels and all of these things, he doesn't even have a lot of followers. Like he only has 200,000 followers on, Twitter. But it seems like that's why I was asking about like what did you think, because it seems like CZ is actually not going for the big splash of a person, because honestly if you hire somebody who has 6 million followers to be your spokesperson, you may have to pay them a little more. So that's why I was asking, what did you think? Did you think it was like smart or whatever? I think it's smart because I like to sit in my bed and look at TikTok videos all fucking night when I'm not talking to you guys. A lot of you guys here are in my Discord or in the CU Discord or in the any other group. And he's everywhere. And a lot of his videos, they're simple, they're not too offensive, and they're fun. So it seems like it was a safe way to go. And it seems like it's a very strategic way for CZ, because I'm only saying this because he kind of shit on Coinbase and all these other exchanges that bought ads during the Super Bowl. he kind of made fun of them that they're actually doing things like not hiring people right now and not doing this right now. And he's like, well, you spent like $5 million on the Super Bowl. What's going on? So I don't know how much they're paying this guy, but I'm sure it's not $5 or $6 million a year. But I think it's very strategic to actually go small when it comes to getting your exchange out there, because we do have Binance US. So I just think I like the way CZ thinks. He doesn't have to make a big splash to make a big splash. And I think that, maybe FTX and Coinbase need to take a page from his books. I just thought it was very like it's like a chess move to me, actually, at the end of the day.
I agree with that like 1,000%, because it's not. I guarantee you that CZ got his analytics guys to check all the data on like what the what's it called, the audience to that soccer player is, and the audience to that TikToker is. And I'm sure there's some kind of math equation he used to figure out what's the best person or what's the best people to get to the specific audience he wants to get to. I'm sure that had to come into play. He didn't just pick two random freaking guys and that were low key. There's probably so many factors that came into play with his decision with that.
Yeah, for sure. Can I just do a small brag real quick? It's so stupid too.
Let's go, Wolf.
CZ follows me on Twitter, so what's up?
Let's go.
Hey.
Oh shit! Yo, he does, Wolf. You the shit.
Yeah, you can go to my follow. Yeah,
Now you're
that happened
names.
like. What's up?
Now you're dropping names, all famous now.
Yo, I remember that shit because then they sent me a hoodie and shit, and a couple other things. But nah, it's all good. I remember I was jumping up and down one night. It was late at night, and I'm like, it was probably early in the morning for him, but I was just like, yo, what's up? I was like, oh, that's so cool. And he shared some of my shit, so super happy about that. But yeah, let's keep this thing scrolling. It's what are we? We're about almost 3 hours in, actually. If anybody wants to request a mic down there, please do. I do want to let you know, Crypto Underground does have a Discord. We have a couple of members down there and up here, obviously, but you can go to our bios and go ahead and join that. It is a free Discord with over 120 plus channels in there. So you can find a bunch of free information in there for yourself. And also, please feel free to follow Dames on the Blockchain on Twitter. They just created it a couple weeks ago. Definitely would appreciate you giving them a follow. Huge influence in the market, and I definitely love what they're doing over there. And they're also CU core members, but they got their own thing going on. And so feel free to also join their Discord as well, because they also have a Discord. And I think they have like a funny GIF channel in there, if I'm not mistaken, where you can just throw GIFs up all day and just chat GIFs and different type of good morning chats and stuff like that. So go over there, get in there, interact. Definitely learn some more information over there as well, because they have stuff on hardware wallets as well and different things. So definitely give them a follow on there and also on Twitter. But it's kind of a slow night tonight, I won't lie. We don't have too many people coming up tonight chit-chatting. I mean, obviously it was my fault because, well, my internet rubbed me earlier because I live out in the sticks. So, finally we got back in, but we lost quite a few people. But, I'm glad people are coming up that have, and, for everybody down there that's listening, for, just coming in, just to chill with us on a Friday night, so much information we've gone over tonight as well. Something that I did see and I just shared, I know we don't want to talk about it. We already talked about XRP and Ripple and all that earlier, but apparently Columbia integrated the XRPL for land registry through a couple different companies down there.
They did do that.
Yeah, so I thought that was interesting. So feel free to check out that article. I did share it. But I think we'll see a lot more of these. Governments, projects, whatever, launching on XRPL, and also like the trust lines with Stellar once they get their smart contracts up and running and stuff. Obviously, you can launch certain things on there now already. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out too. I think that's a huge move for them, bringing more business over there.
And Wolf,
What else?
before you go on, Wolf,
Yeah.
for everybody down at the bottom, I just shared Crypto Underground's Discord in the nest. If you scroll up, there's about four things that I posted. We've been talking about them.
Okay.
So, if you check it out, you can join this Crypto Underground Discord because they did put a lot of work into their Discord, and you guys should definitely add yourself to it.
Yeah. Did you if you guys have yours Discord link too, please share that up there at the top as well. I would appreciate it because then people can go to your Discord as well
Yeah,
and get in there.
just want everybody to scroll through the stuff that I posted because sometimes that gets lost in
Yeah.
translation. But yeah, if anybody wants to join, see you. It's up there, and I'll post the Dames on the Blockchain Discord. Sorry, Wolf. Just wanted to tell that to everybody.
No. Yeah, please interrupt me. I don't care. I'm laid back. I'm afraid when I interrupt you and yours. No, I'm just kidding.
No, so come on,
I'm
man.
just
Come
kidding. I'm
on,
just
Wolf.
kidding. I'm
Oh,
teasing
come
you.
on.
I'm teasing you. I think Gil came up. What's up, Gil?
Hey, what's up, Wolf? Thymeless, Oculus, what's going on? It's been a
Hey,
minute since I've
Gil,
been in
long
the
What's up,
spaces.
time.
Gil? Hey, Gil.
How y'all doing? It's been a minute. I've been grinding away, trying to get my promotional exams done, finish the day. Been a little, had a few cocktails, just chilling. How's everybody doing?
Doing good. It's good to see you. I've been wondering where you've been the last little bit. It's been a little while.
Same.
Yeah,
I was like, where did Gil go? Oh my God, that's good to see you, Gil. Nice to see you.
appreciate it. Been
Yeah, for
out,
sure.
just trying to do the right thing for the fam. All right, so I got some alpha questions for you. What does everybody think about Zeta? Because it's like the new thing on the block. I don't know if anybody knows about it, but there's a lot of we've all been down this road of like what is, what isn't, and so forth. So curious to hear what everybody's thoughts are.
Is that Showtime? I think just shared that today. Correct?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's been out. Shoot, I want to say maybe a couple weeks.
Okay.
It's Showtime, and then I know Timeless's favorite, Gavin from PCC.
Oh, wait.
He
Wait.
can kick
Anything that
my
has,
butt.
I'm sorry. Anything that has any association with Gil, I'm out of it. Or not Gil. Jesus Christ.
Whoa,
Gavin.
whoa,
It's the
whoa!
G. It's the G. With Gavin, I'm completely out of it because that guy's a fucking douche.
He is he's. What are you talking about? He's like the best public speaker I've ever heard.
What the fuck?
It's Joking Friday.
He's joking. He's had those cocktails. Yo,
No,
that's hilarious. No,
I got
I
jokes
haven't
on.
even looked into it, so I can't. I'll be
Well,
honest with you.
all right. Well, I don't know. Like I'm trying to like I guess what's the best way to put it? Like wage my bet, so to speak, in a way that makes sense. And I like Showtime, and when I saw that it's with Gavin, I was like, oh. But then I started looking into the company Gaxis, who they're partnered with, and they're pretty impressive. I was actually very like I was taken back a little bit because what they're doing is totally different than like the PCC model. So it was very intriguing. But before I jump into anything, I like to get a bunch of different perspectives and kind of throw it off of different minds and see what happens. So
Yeah, I unfortunately haven't looked into it. I haven't even had time to look at Showtime's video. I like Showtime. He's fucking awesome. But like I said, anything with Gavin, I'm already automatically out just because of his past. And what he's done and what he said to community members. I mean, and the other thing too, I have to question is he still part of PCC? And I mean, because he's
Yes.
best friends with Eric, so like, how
no,
does
he
that
he
work?
yeah, he completely disconnected. And the weirdest thing is like the interaction or the conversation. So like, I know when like the PCC and they had their little Twitter Spaces, and he got on, like he's a totally different person. It's strange. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like split personalities in a way. because when he was
Damn.
with PCC, it was, you know, it was very, I don't know, condescending, I guess is the best verbiage. And then
Coding will do that to you.
yeah, and now that he's doing his thing with Zeta, or yeah, I think it's Zeta. So far, what I've heard has been more, believe it or not, more like Luke or Eric, like, you know, professional, so to speak.
Huh.
It's been weird.
Interesting. Yeah, well, maybe he got the help he needed, cleaned up real quick because he was silent for a while, for a couple months. So I mean, you never know. I mean, who the fuck knows? Unless you know, you got to be on your best behavior to get investors to come in and invest their money, right? And then you know, you can be like Eric
Yeah,
later down the road
100%.
of PCC and you know, call people keyboard warriors in their mom's basement or flat or whatever they call it, and you know, go off on people, and then they claim they got attacked.
And then
So
mute everybody. I mean, block
yeah,
everybody, so I can't
yeah,
even see anything he's doing.
yeah. So I mean, it you know, good for them. You know, obviously, I wish nothing but success for Showtime and whatever projects he's getting into. But you know, maybe I'll take a look at it. Maybe I won't. I'm not really sure. But you know, risk tolerance, I guess. You know, everybody's different. You know, right now I'm not just throwing money into everything or a little bit into something. I'd personally, you know, I have been fucking around with some shit coins that are like low market cap right now. But,
Did you
for
get in?
shits and giggles.
Did you get into the gold one or whatever?
No, I did not. The what isn't that what that was called? The it was like
TEH or whatever.
TEH.
Take
Yeah,
gold.
yeah. No, I never
Craziness.
did. Nope. No, and it's you know that's the thing. You got to be careful who you follow as well. Not everybody means malicious, you know, either when they post things. But you have to be aware that you're going to be blamed for certain things if shit goes sour. You
No.
know, but at the end of the day, it's at the end of the day, though. I mean, you know, I think I posted about this a couple days ago. You know, take responsibility for your own actions. You know, you can't be blaming everybody for the actions that you took. You know, no one's over there holding a gun to your head. No one's, you know, over there, you know, pressuring you to do this. You know, so it's unfortunate that it happens, but it does. But you know, it is what it is. But no, I didn't get into that.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's the biggest problem with the space is, you know, people do things and they want to blame somebody instead of themselves. You know, look in the mirror, take a gander. What you
Yeah,
choose is
exactly.
what you choose. You know, so
Yep.
anybody that says one way or the other, it's still your choice. So, you know, we would live and die by our own sword.
Yeah, for
Oh
sure.
my god, that gives me KTNA flashbacks.
Oh, please stop. Don't say that word. Even though I couldn't even post that yesterday. I posted an update of all the nodes, or most
Katana?
of them.
Is that Katana?
Yes.
Yeah, that's Katana. Yeah.
So did you?
Oh, no.
So did you commit sudden death, or what is it? What is it called?
Yeah,
What
I
do they? What do
honorary
they?
committed. Yeah. And then I think I got like one node in return or something like that. Some bullshit.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Even though I had like
I still
100 or
got
something.
nothing.
So it's bad. It was oh god. Oh, but now it's exchange season. Because now all the exchanges are going down.
And who would have thought we would have actually seen that? That's like a really sobering
Well,
realization.
Yeah, you know what? Do you know what these exchanges are doing? These exchanges are doing what a lot of companies do when they're not actually making the profit that they expected to make. They're trimming the fat, as when my grandmother would say. That's what they're doing. They're doing stuff to protect themselves. And at the end of the day, is it wrong? Yes. But do I expect it? Yes. Especially, just looking at what goes on with a lot of these financial corporations, they are going to protect themselves first, then you second, or maybe third or fourth or fifth. So that's why I think a lot of times we just have to be mindful of the money that we leave on exchanges and the staking that we do, because I'm a staking fanatic, but I always go into, the mind frame of staking or leaving anything or any crypto that I buy. I always go within the mindset of like, I might not get it back. I'm staking a lot of stuff right now. And if I don't get it back, I'm going to be okay. but everybody is not me. And I'm not saying everybody should be like me, but there is actually, there's no guarantee that what we're doing is going to, is going to be okay, especially in something that's a new asset class and something that is trying to be regulated. So you just got to be careful.
So let me ask you a question, Oculus, and anybody really. When it comes to staking, right? Like I agree 100% on the exchanges in quotation marks because you can't see my fingers right now. Compared to like the dexes, what is the security risk difference between staking on a dex compared to staking on an exchange, or is it that drastic?
Well, um, staking on an exchange, I mean, obviously it's centralized, right? You basically don't own that crypto. I mean, you might have paid for it, but think of it, and I've said it like this before, think of it as like more of like an IOU kind of thing. Like they're not going to give you that actual cryptocurrency until you take it off their exchange. Um, obviously, if it's on there and you're trading it, you're trading it. But if you're staking it on a crypto exchange, and let's say they go belly side up, kind of like we've seen with Celsius, or now like probably with Voyager, because after the 3AC bankruptcy, filing, um, you know, you're basically shit out of luck because they're going to take all those assets most likely, and you're not going to be able to get them back. Whereas on a DEX, sure, shit goes away sometimes. There's exploits, there's hacks and things like that. But a majority of the time, through a DEX, you're able to connect your hardware wallet to it and protect your assets a little bit in a safer way. So even if there was an incident that occurred, your assets would still be protected. Obviously, that's not the case for all DEXs. Don't get me wrong. But obviously it's decentralized, so it's there's not just one entity looking over that specific that project or whatever. Sometimes, unfortunately, we do find out later down the road that some of these decentralized exchanges are not specifically decentralized exchanges, but more so these projects aren't so decentralized, as we just witnessed, with multiple node projects, and also with what was it, the Solend protocol over there on Solana blockchain that was basically trying to put forth, a voting thing where, even though they call it a vote, proposal, one whale, basically 90% of the vote, right? So not really too decentralized, voted there. But I mean, there's risks to both, but more so with centralized exchanges, because you're shit out of luck as soon as they go down. But obviously, I think OV actually brought this up earlier when you weren't in here. But a lot of retail investors who are newer feel that maybe they're just going to use, let's just say, Coinbase or one of those apps because that's where they purchase their crypto, and they're just going to hold it on there because they're not educated enough to say, hey, okay, let me get a hardware wallet and all this, and then put it over to, into self custody and then stake it from there. Kind of like you can do with like all these other cryptocurrencies like Cardano, etc.
Right.
So yeah, there's risk to both though. But
Yeah.
it comes down to really ease of use as well.
So like on the dexes, as long as we have it, I guess, I'm trying to think like example. Like I have like whatever amount of pops, right, for the Swapsicle exchange on their dex, but I have it through my hardware, through my ledger. So that is slightly more secure than having whatever Cosmos on crypto or on Coinbase, staking 5% or whatever it is.
Yeah, it's a lot more safer. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Well, that's good to know because I actually I thought I was contemplating keeping things on there because I was like, you know what, if it's on anything other than my ledger only, or my Trezor or my Decent or whatever it is, then it's basically anybody's money other than mine. So I'm glad to hear that because I did not know that.
Yeah, my pleasure. Um, Always here to educate. That's what we're here for. Every little bit helps. But that's also the other thing that boils down to, right? Like I said, education's lacking there for a lot of people, unfortunately.
Damn
Thymeless,
it,
how's your move
Celsius.
going?
All right. Hey, Gail. Great job. Enjoy those cocktails. And thanks for coming up tonight to talk. Really appreciate it.
Bye, Gil.
Yo, we're getting a major storm right now. It's fucking hailing on my car. I'm so pissed.
We just started thundering, but we don't have the hail yet. Don't send it this way.
Yeah, it's literally, I can hear it ting 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 ting. I can hear it off the road. Oh, I hate that. But summertime showers, it's about 90 degrees here where I am, so it doesn't surprise me. Late thunder shower at night. But yeah, what else you got? What else do you ladies have to chit chat about tonight? You got anything else on your own that you guys had, or that or anything lingering that you guys wanted to bring up?
Well, I was personally looking. Sorry, Obi. I'm just was seeing some of these updates that the snapshot for fire was done, and they said that the airdrops were starting, and they gave the token address, but I was really scrolling through crypto Twitter to see if anybody really got it and if it's really 3 cents. And so, wonder if anybody down there, have you put in your token address and what did you get? If you got anything yet?
All right, who got 50 cent? No, stop.
Hey, just so you know, it's 85 cents now due to inflation.
My bad. I'm sorry.
Hilarious.
Wow. So how much was their treasury? I think Timeless, you told me that
Last
today.
night, Santos and I were talking really late, looking at failed projects that should be dead that aren't quite dead yet. And we went and looked at fire, and they had a treasury last night of a little over $4,000, which doesn't sound really healthy to me.
Wow. So they almost have. So they have. Wow. That's almost mortgage in New York City. So that's how much they actually have in their treasury. And this was the same project that was actually giving out free nests, which I kind of thought was a little weird and a little negligent. So you guys are actually giving nests to people. Wow, that's admirable. Can you actually keep that up? I mean, shit, look at Strong right now. I ain't never seen David Moss handing out fucking 10 Strong, or even David Moss. David Moss didn't give nobody Strong, and neither did David Moss. So it was like, I don't know, I think that and I'm not in fire, but I was just looking at what was going on, and I think that they were trying to make this huge splash, but didn't really have any concrete plans or anything that was solid to continue what they were doing. I mean, seriously, I mean, come on now. And I've been hearing a lot of you guys complain about fire, and I just, I've seen some people say that, they actually believe in fire. They're working in the background. And I'm like, well, what the fuck they working on with $4,000? I mean, shit. Let's be honest. $4,000 is nothing right now. And if you have 20,000 nest holders, and I don't even know how much they have. I'm just throwing out a figure. What are you going to do with $4,000 in your treasury if you have 20,000 people that have nests? I mean, I'm not a mathematician, but I actually can fucking add and subtract. So it's like, what's really good with this project? Sounds like a bunch of bullshit to me.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. A lot's gone down, right? I mean, most of the node projects have pretty much completely just, been shattered. Not just by market conditions. I mean, they were already on their way down prior to, the more recent moves by Bitcoin. Obviously, it's been on the downtrend since, we hit that all-time high in November of 21. But nonetheless, it's just interesting to see, it all comes down to smoke and mirror, verbiage that was used in the community with some of these projects, and then like buzzwords, more specifically, and like node caps, which didn't end up even being a cap at all, and then they changed it to a tier. Probably the original plan, but basically play on words. I mean, sure, you can say you're building, sure, but I've seen how the teams operated, and if the team operates in a sloppy manner, whereas like sure they're having these meetings and stuff like that, but if their true personality shines through on CT or anywhere on Twitter, and they're completely different than what they're actually saying, and they're crying and saying we're still here, and calling people names and things like that, and these are CEOs and founders of companies, just basically that's the future of the company or the project, in my opinion, you know, and especially ones that don't even acknowledge issues, or just give the cold shoulder to the community. Sure, they have no obligation to say anything. People would like them to, but some just pretend like nothing ever happened, kind of like the strong block. Just keep moving forward. They'll eventually forget about it, and sure, 6 months we'll get a new wave of investors to come in, and they'll certainly won't know shit until they look it up or whatever, whenever they choose to, and they'll invest their money into it, and they'll be the next wave. That's just how it goes. There'll always be another. There'll always be the. You'll always forget. We may not, but future investors will. They won't know shit about it, especially new money that comes in. So sure, they could still be building, specifically, Phoenix. Okay, everybody calls it PCC, but come on, let's be real. It's PCCI. I hate when people say PCC.
Facts.
Okay, like, come on, like, let's add the I in there, because if you go to their fucking website, it's on there. It's just up. It's just fucking vertical. Okay, it's there though. The ink is there. So please, PCCI. Uh, because everybody calls it PCC, including their own founders, even though it's PCCI. And sure, we can build a hotel in the middle of a fucking jungle or prostitution ring or whatever you want to do, sex trafficking, and try to build a bank somewhere, But if they deliver, sure, cool. They're building, obviously, and the best time to build, as much as is in a bear market, right? So we'll see. What, Obi? Why are you laughing?
Because I think you know what, I know what you're saying. You're trying to be diplomatic, but let's face it. A plan, I mean, an idea without a plan is useless. It really is.
Yeah.
And that goes for a lot of these projects. That goes for a lot of these node projects that are out right now. You had an idea, you made the idea, but you didn't actually have a plan. And even if you had a plan that sounded good, do you have another plan in case this plan doesn't work out? Do you have another plan if that one doesn't work out? I mean, it's happened with even Strong. And this is from, David Moss actually has a resume that's not one you can actually shit on. And look at what Strong is doing right now. So.
Well, I mean, we could shit on his resume because
No, you actually can't.
EOS was sued.
Yeah, but you know what? You have to look at why EOS was sued. And you also have to look at what he did before EOS.
Yeah,
because
true.
like I said, he was pretty big in the .com boom. I know a lot of people here may be younger, but I was actually a young woman in the .com boom, and that was all the rage when I was in my 20s, and it actually meant something. And he actually did help create a company that is still around today, that actually other companies copied off of. So if you think about Carvana and all these other ones, the company that he worked on was actually the baby of that. So I'm not going to actually shit on him, but like I said, just because he knows what he's doing in another asset, in another aspect, doesn't mean that he's going to prosper in another way. I think they're still trying to figure out what they're doing. That's why I just said, just because you have a good idea doesn't mean anything if you don't actually have a plan for it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, true that.
I
Very
mean,
true.
shit, I'm a strong investor. I'm fucking pissed at Moss, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it is what it is at this point, right? I mean,
yeah,
we can't do anything about it, so.
No.
So there, yeah, I mean, there's really no, yeah. I get what you're saying. I always appreciate it. And I understand. You know, I understand. But yeah, Gil. Thanks for bringing that up, man. And Timeless, and OV for chiming in on that as well. But yeah, I mean, like I said, these nodes, I did post an image. I could only fit so many in one picture, because for whatever reason, I didn't want to do like multiple pictures of like all the nodes. But you see, most of them are down like 90+%, if not 95+%, from their all-time highs. But like the Dow era, we had the Dows, we had the nodes, um, you know, and now we have an exchange season, like I said. But go ahead, Gil.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, to be fair, like obviously PCC strong, like all these so-called nodes or venture capital or whatever, they're all down. Everything's down. But it's the same thing. Like the scary part is like the NFT craze, right? Right now, it's kind of the same. Like you got to be very careful with what you're about to get into, because there's a lot of like, I don't want to say knockoffs, but there's a lot of like you know people that are trying to capture whatever the original came from, and it's scary for investors right now, because obviously we're in the bear market and things are going awry, and it's tough. Like, everybody be careful. Make sure you do your own homework. That's why, like, don't jump into things just because of the FOMO. Be smart about what you invest in, and be patient. Because I mean, everything's going to come around in a bear market. There's no reason to just jump in to get in right away, because everything that I've seen, especially in the last, I don't know, 4 to 6 months, I mean, the entry points after 6 months is way better than the first month. So patience is key.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, always do your own research, right? And tread carefully, tread with caution. Obviously, reevaluate your risk management. Your risk tolerance. What you can afford to lose and all that stuff. Now's the best time, really. So yeah, definitely.
I'm just curious what everybody's going to get. I'm wondering if it's really going to be the slap in the face of the 3 cents.
Yeah, I mean, well, maybe it'll go up to 6 cents. That's double. So I can't complain. Gil, what did you say due to inflation? It's 83 cents or something?
No, that was, you guys didn't see that meme by 50 Cent? He goes, he changed his name from 50 Cent to 85 Cent due to inflation.
Oh, Jesus. That's funny. I didn't see that at all, no. 50 Cent probably blocked me. He don't like me. No, I'm just kidding.
Not Curtis.
All right, so
Curtis.
where do we see the bottoms, right? Where do we see the bottom of Bitcoin and ETH? What's everybody's makeshift prediction?
Yeah, I'm not sure if you've seen my tweet, but I had different downward trends that I had targets for, and I think 4 out of the 5 hit so far. So my bottom range, in my opinion, is anywhere between 9 to 12K. That's what I've been eyeing for, like, downward price action. Obviously I had multiple targets in between that, starting at 29K and then down to the 17K 18 range that we just saw recently a couple weeks ago. But yeah, that's my absolute bottom, in my opinion. I've talked to others that have a similar mindset to that as well. I think the lowest one I saw was wild, but whatever. Anything could happen, I guess, in the market. Is the Rich Dad Poor Dad author there, Robert, who said like $1,000 or something for the bottom. He really wants to buy the dip. He really wants people to sell so he could buy that dip. But yeah, 9 to 12K is in my opinion. Timeless or OV, what are your bottoms there?
I'm kind of right there with you, Wolf. That me and you have had lots of discussions, and like what I was talking with Oculus the other day is I kind of went through a few other people that I kind of go to at different TAs. They use different strategies, they use different indicators, and I kind of went through after our hours over longer periods of time, not like we just sit here and talk about it for 6 hours. So if anybody is like, oh God, they said talk about the chart for no, but Wolf and I have had long conversations about these charts. And then I went to go look at cross-reference some people and their different strategies, and all of them are coming back the same. And then the way that I've learned the charts from you, Deeks, and everybody else, and me putting it all together, I was coming at a range between like 12 and around like 10.3 is kind of where that range that I put in when I learned about doing the ranges. And everybody else that I was seeing with all the different indicators, different strategies, people that we don't even personally know, are all coming in at around 13 to 12,000. And a lot of them said that they really truly believe we're going to see sub 10,000. And based on just the research, accumulating data, us talking, that's where I kind of feel like we're going. I mean, could always be wrong. Something could happen tomorrow that is unexpected, but geopolitical, inflation, everything going on, I definitely see another leg down into those lower numbers personally.
Yeah, go ahead, Ovi.
Yeah, I was going to say that I posted your downside price in the Nest, Wolf, because I wanted people to actually see what you've been saying, and have some proof with it.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. I don't know. You know what I actually heard on the 23rd of June from an old podcast from an influencer that I actually respect and follow? They were actually calling for 8K BTC. And I was like, oh shit, you trying to go lower than 9K. Okay.
I mean, it's
So
still around that range, though. So, I
right.
mean,
No,
it's
no,
not too
no.
far.
Yeah, it is. But I'm just saying, like, even with the relief bounces that me and you have talked about, because I told you I was trying to actually, buy a couple of Ethereums, because I mean, whether even if we hate Ethereum, it's not going nowhere. It's not. It really isn't, and I can't afford to buy 1 or 2 Bitcoin right now. So it's like, I'm looking at the number 2. So, and me and you have spoken about this privately, Wolf. I'm thinking like around 10. I don't know, like around that 9 to 12K point you put. I'm thinking around 10, because I do think that a lot of people are going to purchase, when it gets lower, because a lot of people are waiting for a certain dip, and I do feel that there are people who buy the dip all the damn time, but I'm not one of those people anymore. I'm not going to buy every dip. I'm waiting for a certain dip. That's why I have my ducks in the row, as my grandmother would say, and I'm waiting. Because if I can get something for a certain amount and get more, I like to get more for my money. So I'm being more patient this time. So I'm actually waiting for that 9 to 12K that you've spoken about so many times, and that I've heard many other people speak about. So that's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah, I don't even think I touched on like the Ethereum price. Yeah, I mean, I could see as low as 300.
Yes, from your
For
lips to
Ethereum.
Yeah, that's
God's
about.
ears. From your lips
Let
to
it
That's
hang.
God's ears.
basically.
I'm going to buy a bunch. Oh shit.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I
That
personally,
low. Hell
that was
yeah.
my low on that. Yeah, that was my low on Ethereum
No,
because
but
it.
Wolf, you actually did say that. You told me
Yeah,
that. You did. You said
privately. Yeah,
300. Yeah, you did.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, we could. I mean, obviously, guys, keep in mind this isn't financial advice we're giving. We're just giving our own opinions here. But you gotta have you gotta also too, like, obviously, to play devil advocate with our downward prices, you also have to have your upward prices too, because you never know. I mean, yeah, it's much harder to break a downtrend, obviously, in retrospect, you know, than it is to, break an uptrend. It's very easy to break one of those versus the downtrend. So, and then, you need to factor in multiple things, not only crypto TA, which I suggest everybody should learn. You can learn it for free on YouTube, for crying out loud. Or play around with the tools on TradingView before paying for the premium versions. But I suggest everybody try to do that at least a couple of times and give it a try. But you you gotta have targets for both sides, and you should educate yourself on TA. I think that's very important, because like I posted last night, in a very clever way, I thought, but was, it paints a picture, paints the past, the present, and it can help you predict, paint the future basically. But yeah, but that's my thought on that. But ladies, do you know who is? I think it was either Lord Brass, right, and then Old Man
It
with the
was
Dog.
Brass and then Old Man with the Dog.
Okay, all right, let's go with Brass then.
Yo, what up? Basically, just more of the same what you guys been saying, just about that 10K area. I mean, I honestly hate Bitcoin, but like Dior kind of said last week, I am like more of a profit maxi. So if I see that Bitcoin below 10K, that's what I'll be buying. I don't really give a fuck about it. Anytime so much around, if it's higher. But typically, yeah, if it's still sticking to that 4-year cycle, which I think it kind of has, around a year after that peak, you'll see that bottom. So I still think within the next 3 to 6 months, we're going to go a lot lower.
Yeah, I definitely think. See, this is the other thing too. Like, and this is why it's important not to listen to maxis of other coins that hate Bitcoin and all that stuff. I really think it's important to understand profits and how they work, and buying low and selling high. It applies to every fucking crypto out there, mainly when you're in a bear market and a bull, right? So you buy low in a bear market, you sell high in a bull market. That's the way usually the world works. I mean, that's usually what you want to do. And don't let an influencer talk you out of buying like Bitcoin or Ethereum just because it's at a certain price. Like, if Bitcoin's at 10K, you better fucking believe. I mean, me personally, as I said, not financial advice, I'm going to be buying another full Bitcoin, because why the fuck not? I mean, 10K, if you know where it's going to be in 8 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years even now, you know, you're setting yourself up and your family for a good position. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that. But thanks for chiming in on that also, Bress. Appreciate it. Do you guys want to go with the Old Man with the Dog, or do you want to chime in real quick?
No. I'll wait for your to chime in on your point, but let's go with Old Man with the Dog, guys.
Okay. Old Man with the Dog, what's up?
Good evening. And while I got this fresh on my mind, because I've been in and out of the call tonight 2 or 3 times because I was at work. But yes, about 2.5 weeks ago, Wolf, we talked about the Bitcoin price between 12. I do agree with you on the Ethereum possibilities of going. I've heard from 300 to 400. I've also heard Bitcoin possibly around 3,000. Now, with Lord Brass, yes, the possibility of anything under $10,000, the thoughts of DCA, but everybody needs to be, it's their own responsibility. Do your own research. You look at it. It's your choice. It's nobody else's. And that doesn't make any difference if you're listening to an influencer or not. It's still your finger that's pushing the button. Let's see. I think that was pretty much what I'd caught on the parts of it. So now, thank you, Wolf, for hosting this.
Yeah.
James on the blockchain. Y'all are great. And like what I like to try to tweet out, when you get great individuals together with great like-minded minds, there's a lot of information and a lot of learning going on. So thank you all, and also just wanted to say hello to everybody that was down in the queue there. So thank you.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, Old Man with a Dog. As always, man. Hey, I got something special for you tonight, all right? I got my soundboard up and working.
Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out?
That's for you, buddy.
That was our theme song when that first came out. Was at a state convention with police canines, and they played that song when we were having our final dinner. That we rocked the place with that.
Hell yeah.
Funny.
Well, there you go. I'm gonna play that if I get that. I'll save that soundboard track.
just freaking love when he comes on to speak. Does anybody else feel that
seriously.
way? Oh
Oh
my
yeah,
God,
high five to that
yes.
one.
I
Yeah, I
do.
always do. And yeah, I can like Old Man with a Dog, like me and him, like you said, like I think it was like 2.5 weeks ago. We pretty much both said, the similar same thing. And I think we said that night, under Bitcoin's going under 20K either June 17th or 18th, and then sure enough, 3 a.m. in the morning, June 18th, went right under 20K.
Hey, Wolfie.
So
Wolf, there's something else that I have heard, and the one thing is I don't want to bring any type of politics into this, but I've heard that come close to the midterms, there's supposed to be the possibilities of printing again, which is supposed to, well, who knows what it's going to all be leading to, but supposedly a shot. And what's that? That's November the 7th. So that's 2 months away. And then the big crash right after that. And then going into the new year and things starting to build. So yeah, OV, I'm with you on, I've looked and decided what I'm looking at, but I haven't put a penny back in. I still think we're going to have more down.
Yeah, I actually, real quick, I actually said on Wednesday night on the live space, on the Dames on the Blockchain live space, that I can see them printing, cutting interest, cutting these rates again,
yes.
And reversing them basically again and start to print again. I literally said that Wednesday night. And that is a theory that I have and I think it's going to happen. I don't know what time this year, but I definitely see it happening. And that'll be their way of saying, hey, we're going to fight inflation this way.
Yeah.
Because it's a bigger issue than what we actually let on it to be. So,
I mean, 100% agreed, and enough said in regards with that.
Sorry, Ov. I know we've kind of shot past everything there. If you want to go, Ov, that's fine.
Oh no. You know what? I will keep this for the closing thoughts. Go ahead, Thomas. I'm good. Wolf, you good?
The one thing I was going to say when we were going back to targets and then leading off to what Brass was saying is, and for all things good, please do not allow an influencer to encourage you to hold a coin with diamond hands and not take profits. I seen it just the other day, that if you would have bought XR, since most of you guys are in XRP, if you would have bought XRP 5 years ago and you held it, never took profits, you would be at the same exact amount as you bought into it 5 years ago. I got disillusioned in the beginning too of diamond hands, that's what it is. And yes, there are some things that we hold. But really have an exit strategy in place to know when to take profits. Do not be left holding the bags. That's how you're going to build your portfolio. And a lot of influencers and people out there will really beat the will go hard on the don't take profits at all, diamond hands, you'll be in a better place. And that is not how you build and accumulate wealth, in my personal opinion.
So true, so true. And everybody that's new, that's a lesson that I feel like everybody goes through, and it's a lesson that, I mean, I wish nobody had to go through, but at the end of the day, it makes us all better because of it.
I think it's all about not letting somebody dictate what you can afford, because I don't know what anybody on this panel can afford. I don't know what Wolf can afford. I don't know what Thymeless can afford. I don't know what Brass can afford. Josh, Old Man with the Dog. But I've actually heard influencers tell me, let's not talk about Bitcoin because no one can afford a Bitcoin right now. And I'm like, no, motherfucker, you can't afford one right now. You the one that can't afford one right now. But you do not know what your listeners can afford. Because what are you? You're not fucking psychic. Who the hell are you? Just because you can't afford something does not mean that your listeners and your viewers can afford it. That's why when you're an influencer, I do think you have a certain responsibility. I am never going to tell anybody not to buy XRP. I'm not bullish on XRP. I think everybody knows that. I'm not bullish on Bitcoin like that. I think people know that, but I have never told you not to buy it because I don't. What I eat don't make you shit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm never going to tell you not to buy anything. But actually, when I heard that, it was kind of like a turnoff because how can I actually tell somebody what they can't afford if I'm not their financial advisor? And that's why I make sure, and me and Thomas make sure, that we don't put ourselves in that position. Because if I don't actually have access to your financial records, your 401ks, and anything that you're holding in your savings or your money market accounts, how do I know what you can afford? So when it comes to investing in crypto, I'm telling everybody here, even if you've been here for a long time, don't let anyone tell you what you can't afford. Because a lot of times they're telling you something based on what they can't afford. There's a lot of people here in this space right now who may be able to buy one Bitcoin at $8,000 or $9,000. There is. I don't know that. And we've known how high Bitcoin reached the last time. What's the last ATH of Bitcoin? I will look it up right now.
69,700 or something like that.
Okay, boom. So if we catch Bitcoin at under $10,000, right? Let's say from 9 to 12, right? And it hits 75,000. Do you know how much of a profit that is? More than any savings account, more than any money market account. So don't ever let anyone tell you what you can't afford. And that's why I don't try to shit on coins. That's why I don't like for people to ask me what I think about coins, because I'm going to tell you what I think about them. But just because I feel a certain way about it doesn't mean it's not going to make you money. And that's why I've always done this, to make you an individual investor. Because what I like doesn't mean you have to like it, you know? So, that's why I listen to influencers, but I don't really listen to them, if you know what I'm saying, because they're doing a job, just like all of us are doing a job. So just don't let anybody tell you what your pockets can afford at the end of the day.
Yeah, everybody has a unique situation. I've said that before multiple times in the past. Everybody's financial situation is different. Someone may own a house, someone may have a mortgage, someone may live on the streets, starting out, trying to get rich, trying to gain this wealth. So you just never really know. So you just have to proceed with caution. But definitely the moral here is, though, besides that, is taking profits. And unfortunately, that is one of the things that most people will learn the hard way. And I had a quote. I didn't post it yet. It's in my bookmarked, or not my bookmark, in my draft text. I do a lot of like philosophy, or not philosophy stuff, but like I like to do motivational quotes and things like that, and things that can resonate with people, and understand. There was one, and you guys can tell me if this is stupid because I didn't post it yet, but it makes sense to me. If you're never necked down, then you never get to do it all, and it really makes sense when you really break it down. Um, if you really just stare to think about it. If you never take profits, you would have never, or if you took profits, I mean, sure, right off the bat, you would have never got knocked down, whatever, but getting knocked down is, I think, something that's essential for everybody, because then you can go on learning from that experience and apply that knowledge going forward, and then help other people and educate them on it. And most of the time, I mean, I'm sorry to say this, but even if we educate people, they can have that knowledge, but doesn't mean they're going to take it and apply it. Kind of like our parents growing up. They try to give you the best advice they can the majority of the time, so that way you don't have to repeat the same mistakes that they did or whatever, etc. But what do we kids do? Well, a majority, I would say, probably go off and do it anyways or whatever, and then they learn the hard way, right? And then they're like, oh shit, I should have listened. So it's just kind of like one of those things. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I love that because we all learn from our own mistakes more than we learn from anybody else's.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, very true, very true. Brass, did you have your hand up, man? I thought I saw somebody's hand go up and then it went down or something.
Brass's hand was up, but he did send a DM, so he's probably it's still just probably lagging that he's still here. He said he's at 1%, so he said he'll be right
Oh,
back.
son of a bum. All right. Hey, can one of you ladies throw up his Line Monkeys page? Or if there's like a
Sure
post from him,
can.
just throw it up at the top. For those of you that may not know, Lord Brass is part of our CU core. He's a core member. He's been in before me. And he does awesome NFT artwork and stuff. And he's the one that does our videos every week. So definitely give him some claps, give him some love, throw him, some rounds of applause if you can. And go to his page, and check out Line Monkeys. Definitely some cool stuff. I see a bunch of people rocking his new NFTs as their profile picture. So definitely something to check out. And I
Can I
The
personally
just be a
call
latest
his art.
auction
fangirl?
one I just put
Yeah,
up.
go ahead.
Can I
Yeah,
just
go
be a
ahead.
fangirl with Lord Brass for a second? And he might not like it, but yes, he has also done videos for names on the blockchain, and I love what he does. Um, and if you hop in his inbox after I say this, yo, Brass, make sure you charge them. You know what I'm saying? You got to get paid for your
She wants her
time
commission
because
too. No, I'm just
no,
kidding.
no, no, I
I'm
really
just
don't.
kidding.
No,
I'm just kidding.
I know you are a wolf, but I'm just saying, like, I appreciate somebody actually working with graphics and videos, and Brass is like on point. So any videos that you see that we post or see you post, Brass has done them, and thank you, Brass, for actually doing that for us and see you. Appreciate you.
To the utmost, and he's highly talented. And I did put up the latest auction. That one may have ended, but it will allow you to go to the Line Monkey page. And he is working with other ones, and early investors in it have been getting. He's been gifting out NFTs too, so definitely look at it. He's put a lot of hard work and time into it, and it does show. And so yeah, just look up at the nest up above and go check him out and send him a follow.
Yeah, for sure. I had to get that in there because I didn't want to forget it. I almost did. I'm like, wait a second, shit. gotta throw a shout out to our main man there. I mean, I love his videos. I mean, this week it was pretty cool. The spray paint and stuff. I love last week's video too. He had I asked him. I was like, man, can you do the howling? And he's like, let me find something. Maybe like 20 minutes later, not even like he got back to me, and I was like, oh shit, let's go. But yeah, he's super talented for sure. Um, but yeah, Ovi, you got something to add? Sorry. Nope. Uh, Gil, what's up, man?
All right, so you guys just brought up, Lord Brass's NFT collections and so forth. So I got a question because NFTs are a big, big thing right now, and they're all over the place, and it's a big hot topic, and there's thousands and thousands of them. I feel like that are dropping on all these different, chains. So, what exactly are you guys doing when it comes to the vetting of these? Because there's so many, and there's so many different levels of just items. Roadmaps are
Yep.
some roadmaps are amazing, some are like okay. Just curious because it's very hard for me to navigate that space right now because it's still very
Yeah.
new to me. So drop some knowledge.
Yeah, I would say it's still in its infancy, stage, just like crypto itself, but more so like straight out the womb within the past 2 years, like really grabbed on, but more so over the last year specifically. I like to look, I mean, me specifically, this is my thing, like I like to look for things that have a utility base, or things that have like, if you own a specific NFT, you get certain perks for it, like whether the artist airdrops you free art down the road or rewards you in crypto, things like that. And also, I think it has a bright future ahead of itself. Like I said, it's still early. And I think, like with the games coming out where you own specific NFTs, that give you certain benefits in game. And also like talking about land registry earlier, but like having your medical records in the future on there, and what else? Land registry, even like deeds on the blockchain through NFTs. So I think there's a bright future ahead of it. I just think right now you're seeing it's highly speculative, obviously, just like crypto itself, but more so right now it's just like, you know, a lot of like, I mean, a lot of these people who own Bored Apes, right, are like celebrities. So obviously it's giving it extra value. Um, but I will say that obviously the artists who broke that, barrier obviously had an advantage, right? Because they were like one of the very first big ones that like really popped off, and celebrities really attracted to it and things like that. But I mean, a lot of these things too, you got to keep in mind is I wouldn't be surprised if there's like, I hate to say it, but it happens in the real world, money laundering, where somebody who's got making a lot of money and wants to stash some of it, or they're going to buy an NFT. I mean, it's no different than the regular art world, where people do this every year, so they don't have to pay taxes and stuff. They just like they probably work out some deal with the artist, and they're like, "Hey, charge me 14 million for this," and then they do or whatever, and then they have the tax benefit of that. So it's just all these things, but it's highly speculative. I think right now, what people should focus on though, like what I said, is utility based NFTs, and what they're going to do, and also like support your local artist, kind of like that, like a small business kind of thing. Not something that's like copying everybody, but something that looks hand drawn or handmade, kind of like Nettie, who's on Lightment, I believe. And then you have Brass, with his Line Monkeys, people that are actually like taking the time and actually customizing their artwork and things like that, like with their own hand, versus something that's more computer generated. But obviously, the market is going to dictate the price. The market basically. I mean, I think some of those NFTs lost like 80% of their value since the crash of Bitcoin. So, and also don't get greedy. But go ahead, Timeless, real quick.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say, and you got different levels of NFTs also. Like you have museums around the world that are putting up like the art that we've grown up, the Mona Lisa and things like that, up in NFTs, so people can, and they're not for sale, but it's as a way for you to be able to visualize it and go and see it without having feet on the ground. Then, like going off of what Wolf was saying, also, you have the NFTs where somebody's their inherited is, and their trust is going into an NFT to hold the value and passing that along because of the tax reasons. And then but what we're seeing a lot of right now is NFTs that you can stake them and get some kind of reward, or things like, and different things like that. You just have different avenues. Like we've seen, Oculus and I were going through the different blockchains and looking at NFTs. You have people that put their children's art up for an ungodly amount of money. And I think it was just kind of like a joke. I hope it was a joke. But you see so much, and it was like a big thing because Oculus and I, she does more photography than I do. I'm a hobby photographer, and we were looking at how to make those into NFTs. So I think it's a back and forth of what you're looking for, what the NFT is, and in the different lanes that they're in.
Yeah, I think Gil got disconnected, or he went down. Sorry, he went down the listener. But yeah, go ahead, Ovi.
Oh no, I was just making sure because it got real quiet, so I got nervous. I'm good.
She got nervous. Mm-hmm.
I was like, no,
no,
don't shut off. Don't shut off. Don't shut off. Don't shut off.
No, yeah, I know. My internet connection. I know. That's why I said I got severe thunderstorms coming through right now. I heard that hail and I was like, oh boy. But no, Gil's back up. Gil, did we answer that for you, buddy?
Yeah, I appreciate it. Sorry, I got rogue.
All right, cool. Well, hopefully you heard. Hopefully you heard all of it. If not, we got the recording going.
I totally missed all of Timeless's alpha, but it was awesome.
I
know it was.
Son of a gun. Yeah. She's always throwing out good stuff. But yeah, like I said, infancy stage there, just like crypto itself. So long way to go. Things will get better on time, though, obviously. But yeah, anything? Did you have anything else? I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, I 100% agree. It's the sage, like the amount of things that are coming down the pipeline, and like what's gonna happen with the whole Web3 applications of all this. It's insane. It's so hard to decipher, what projects are actually connected. I mean, there's so much. Uh, what's the best, like, literature that states certain things, but it's for me it's really hard to navigate the white papers and the roadmaps and the actuality of where the devs are taking it. I'm still learning
Okay.
that portion, like the actual like programming and the coding, and being able to decipher, like, oh, okay, they are actually headed that way, rather than just seeing it like, oh, look, here's our roadmap or here's our white paper, because I feel like a lot of
Yeah.
that's been, you know, it's hard for me to like say that without being, judgmental, but at the end of the day, like, a lot of people are just, oh, look how good our white paper is and look how good our roadmap is, and then when it comes down to it, it's all a crock of shit, so to speak,
Yep.
So,
No, for sure.
uh,
Yeah, I've experienced that firsthand, and seen so many different well, exploits or hacks, whatever you want to call them, or just the devs themselves, just pretty much rugging the project.
yeah, and I feel bad
So
for a
you
lot of
just
the devs. I mean, some of these artists,
yeah.
I mean, they're some of these artists are getting screwed by, I guess, the developer ends, or whoever it is that's doing it. They're stealing the art, and it's basically,
Well,
these guys are getting screwed.
yeah. Well, the worst part is if an artist is going to give like the keys to the fucking the Lamborghini to these fucking devs. I mean, that's the first issue. You don't want to do that if you're the artist. But unfortunately, lessons learned. Unfortunately, the hard way. Um, you know, um, but yeah, it'll get better in time, obviously. But yeah, you just have to judge. I mean, obviously, get better. I mean, obviously, it does take time. Learning the white list and everything. And sure, projects can say, "Hey, this is what we're gonna do," and then never fucking do it. I mean, that's an issue too, obviously. Um, especially in the NFT market, we saw that a lot in the bull NFT market. A lot of projects just coming out with the same old shit. And then pretty much either rugging their people or just going inactive. So yeah, but obviously
Yeah, I
always
have a
do your due
couple
diligence.
rugged NFTs. At least they look cute.
Hey, see, they're souvenirs now.
Yeah,
So
I got me a couple little nano ninjas. They just sitting there, just looking pretty.
that's fun. Oh man, go ahead, Josh.
I don't want to talk about rugs, but my advice for NFT new people to NFTs, there's all right. How many cryptocurrencies are out there in the world right now? Anybody know off their head?
Like
Uh,
9,000.
Too many.
there are
Well,
over
actually,
20,000.
yeah,
All right.
Is it
actually,
really that high? Holy shit.
So if there's
Yep.
20,000 cryptos out there, there's 90 billion NFTs out there on every other blockchain. There are very slim pickings when it comes down to an actual utility for it. I mean, unless you want to earn a token that is worth nothing and do raffles and just interact with the community. Like that's really the only big thing I'm seeing right now. I haven't made a ton of money off of NFTs at all. There are ways to earn these tokens, and they are building stuff for the future. So, I mean, I picked a couple, I'll say a handful of projects that I'm involved with. But if you're going to do NFTs, you have to be involved and you have to devote the time to it to just interact with it to see where it's going. Um, and like I said, there's only one that I found so far that has a possibility of having a long-term um, sustainability. But I mean, that's far, who knows though, it's like any other thing. But you got to be, if you're going to do it, you got to make sure you have the funds to throw away to do it. And really, really trust and research the project and talk to the actual founders, go to the AMAs that they have in the hosted spaces. I mean, a lot of things will excite people, but at the same time, they may turn out in 2 months be like, this didn't work. And it'll turn into the DeFi thing where people were staking or the nodes or something like that. I feel like it's going to turn into that for a lot of these projects down the road. Granted, some will succeed in what they're doing. And just so you're frame of reference, I'm big on Solana, so my vision, my mindset is kind of focused on that. But I do expand out and listen to Ethereum and AVAX and all those other people. There's projects out there that aren't popular, like you won't hear about them until you catch an AMA one time that they're actually doing something. They're not in the Discords doing hype about their project. They're actually like making a metaverse for 10 years from now. So just keep that in mind if you want to degen into NFTs. That's all.
Hey, go ahead, Thymeless. And thanks for that, Josh.
Yeah, thanks, Josh. Yeah, that's a lot of added information into the conversation. And I was just going to add, when we're looking at NFTs also, I'm looking more forward-looking, because a lot of us are gamers, or we have gamed, or if we don't game personally, your kids game or someone around you games. And these characters like we build on Call of Duty or Grand Theft Auto and those kind of things, I do definitely see where we're headed with NFTs. Those characters and those skins that you bought on one game that doesn't carry over to the next one, I truly believe that's where we're going to start seeing these NFTs. A special weapon you've bought, a special skin that you bought, a car or something like that, so that you can carry it on with you into different games. And I think we're just getting a flood of the market, just like you get a flood of tokens. But there's individual use cases, even if there's not a utility behind it. Sometimes it's just about the art. And if you really like the art, there's been NFTs I've bought and I was like, hey, if this rugs, it rugs, but I really like the art on this, so I'm going to buy it. Am I going to spend 2 ETH on something like that? Hell no. Nah. But I definitely look at the different things about it, not just whitelist, because somebody can promise you a whole shit ton of something in a whitelist, and at the end of the day, they don't have to make that happen, just like a project doesn't have to do it with a token. So I kind of use the same thing, but if I really like the art and it pulls me to it, I'm more apt to buy that off. It always have to have utility in my eyes, personally.
Yep. Hold on, Gil. Ov, did you have something to say real quick? Because I saw your hand up before, Gil. So.
Nah, I'll just keep that in my pocket. Go ahead, Gil.
You're good, Gil. Go ahead, man.
Okay, so let me ask, when it comes to these...
You sound like you're in a hole, right? Let me see.
Hold on.
Is that better there?
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, it's better.
Oh, that's perfect.
All right.
Yes.
So, Timeless, you're talking about like the games and how the skins and the guns and the cars and so forth. What is our thoughts in terms of like, and we talk about a lot about like cross chain when it comes to tokens and things like that, but what about cross chain, or I guess cross gaming, when it comes to skins and cars and things like that? Is that something that's being talked about on the NFT like marketplace? For example, if I buy a skin on, I'm not a gamer, but if I have, whatever game, I mean, that game's going to be exclusive to the skins and the guns and the cars and so forth. So we're kind of dependent upon that game being successful more than the NFT itself, correct?
Yes and no. I know Ubisoft, which it has their hands in lots of games. Even if they're not the forefront of the developer of the game, they've partnered with it in a lot of games on different consoles. So a lot of games within like Xbox, they share a lot of the same development team, even if it's under a different franchise. And so I know even last year, Ubisoft was exploring and talking about a certain gun that could be your gun, that as long as it was within a certain spec or realm, you could take it to a different game as long as they were associated with it. And with some company like Ubisoft, their hands are in a lot of pots. So that has a lot of exposure to a lot of different games. While this is just being talked about, I know they have a lot of money and I'm sure they're working that back end that we're not hearing a lot about. But the fact that they've even brought it up to as a public conversation and then even had you go and look at some things and for gamers, and they were looking at how long you've had active accounts, and they were actually taking in um, comments and reviews of people who actually game and putting it into whatever they're working on behind the scenes. So I'm hating to be so vague, but I have to be vague because there's not a lot out there yet. But it's what they're funneling the information to us and how we're seeing it. And while we're talking about the metaverse and how you're talking about play to earn games and all of that, it just logically has its place. And while the new Grand Theft Auto is talking about cryptocurrency and stuff like that.
Okay, cool. So like the Web3, I guess what's the best way to say it? Like the Web3 initiation of all this could be very unique to everyone being able to bring everything to the table. And I know OV, I know you're a gamer, so I know you got all kinds of alpha on this. Go for it.
You know, the funny thing about, yes, I'm a very serious gamer and I like, you know, virtual reality. I have every kind of peripheral and console you can imagine, even the handheld ones, you know. So um, I was looking at what Sebastian Bourget was saying today, and he's actually the co founder of the Sandbox. And he was actually saying that the metaverse is years away from being a global phenomenon. And I kind of was like, wow, why does he say that? And you know, when you look at the Sandbox, you have Gucci, Adidas, and HSBC and Warner Music are like a few of these big companies that have decided to actually set up shop in the Sandbox, which means, you know, build their projects in the Sandbox. But he said that like a lot of brands are still kind of like confused about how to actually present their products and develop their products in virtual shops and offices. So it's so new that even like the oldest fashion brands, sneaker brands, banks are still kind of trying to find their way around the metaverse. So I think that anybody who actually is into the metaverse, you're very early. Because even though you have places like Vogue is doing things, JP Morgan is doing things in the metaverse, they're still trying to figure out what the fuck the metaverse is and how is it actually going to appeal to people. You know, there are some people who actually are interested in buying land in the metaverse. There are some people who actually are interested in purchasing products off the metaverse. But there's a lot of people who aren't, because there's a lot of people who are not going to buy Adidas sneakers off the metaverse or products from, you know, Gucci off the metaverse. You know, they're still going into stores. So I do feel like things like the metaverse, when it comes to like gaming and creating and things of that sort, I think it's kind of far away. I would say at least 5 to 10 years from my actually just being a gamer and doing these things on consoles and in VR. and using virtual reality is very, very far off. But if you're here now, you're early, you know?
Okay, so knowing that, like, you know, when you talk about the skins and the weapons and whatever the vehicles, like where is the best place to research, you know, looking at those things? Because obviously, you know, we talk about, I hear about, you know, the skins all the time. And okay, well, if I buy a skin in today's world, right, you know, whatever, 2022, is that going to have a big selling point in 2027, you know, or 2032? You know, like what's the benefit for me to be able to like say, hey, I got this skin, you know, it's 10 years old. Like what is somebody, you know, 10 years from now, or a kid, or, you know, a young adult that's a big time gamer, where's the benefit for them? You
You
know, is
know what?
that being built in? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. But you know what? Actually, from my understanding of what you're asking and what I've been trying to figure out when it comes to the metaverse, because I have so many people in my circle ask me about it, it's like I kind of liken it to like comic books and like card collecting. It's not gonna be appreciated until later on. So I have like basketball cards from the 80s and the 90s that are now worth a lot of money, just like a lot of people collect comic books. So it's all about whether or not you are going to wait until people and the community is going to grasp what you're trying to do. Because if Sebastian Bourget, who's actually the founder of Sandbox, you know, the Sand token, I'm sure you heard of Sand, SAND, if he said himself that, like, you know, companies don't know which way to go in the metaverse because it's new. So if you're an early investor and you actually have the patience to wait, I think it will benefit you. But that's how I'm looking at it. You know, basically, I'm just looking at it as being an early investor, because whenever I ask a lot of people about the metaverse, even if they're in it, they still don't realize there's a bunch of things they can do in it.
Okay, that helps. I mean, like the skins and things, like I'm thinking of like, you know, whatever. If I purchase whatever skin at 100 compared to another skin at 1,000, there's a benefit as a gamer to that actual whatever. If it's a protective quality or whatever the game is, you know, like a spell quality or whatever, you know, how is that going to outweigh the 10 years from now skins? Is it going to be a benefit, or is it just going to be like, you know, like the Adidas Classic line, you know, like obviously the classics are selling like crazy now, but you know, back in the days it was just Adidas. It is what it is. But now it's like, wow, those are vintage. You know what I mean?
Right, right. I also think when it comes to gamers getting into the metaverse, you're going to have to look at what year it is. It's 2022. So if you've been gaming for 18 years, you know, what year is that? What consoles were you on? What games were you attracted to? You know, it does not necessarily mean that somebody who's been gaming for 18 years or 10 years in 2022 is going to be interested in the metaverse. So that's why the co-founder of Sam was saying it's years away from actually being a global phenomenon, because there's certain
Yeah.
things that, like, you know, certain generations are not going to grasp. You're going to have to just wait. And I agree with that. I think it was a great point that he made.
I just want to go on record. In 10 years, you just said, what consoles were you playing on? In 10 years, they're going to be like, what was a console?
Bro, they're already doing that this year.
I
Samsung's coming out
know.
with TVs with the app on it, the cloud gaming app
Uh,
passes, where you don't even need a console anymore. So, yeah, I definitely think, though, to touch on the point of the collector stuff, I definitely think it'll be a collector item down the road, I believe. I mean, obviously, in time, it depends on what they're going to decide to do to attract more business or make something more rare or less rare or whatever. Depending on what you bought, they might even do airdrops. I mean, you just never know. It's kind of like we could speculate about it now, but I definitely like the collector um, version of it, because that's what I think too. And I do want to throw out there, I found, you know, I know Ovi said she has cards from like the 80s and 90s. I literally have my holographic collection of Pokemon cards still from when I was a kid. So like, and we all know those are worth some money now, obviously in today's day and age. So if anybody's interested in some Pokemon holographics, I'll sell you the whole book. Hit me up.
Oh, yo, Wolf, hold on to those because I'm telling you right now, just like my basketball cards from the 80s and 90s during the Michael Jordan era and all those are worth more. I'm telling you.
Sean Kemp,
You got
baby, Sean Kemp.
Oh, that's the Rain Man. Yes, the
Oh my
Rain
Sean
god.
Man.
Kemp.
Yeah, the Rain Man. There you go.
Hey.
Hey, there you go. That's what I'm
You
saying.
have
It's
no
like,
idea
yeah,
how many old school basketball cards I have. It's literally insane. I got like 50,000 in boxes. It's insane.
that's why I just think it was interesting what he said about how it's going to take off in years. So somebody who's 20 years old right now, who's just learning about the metaverse, by the time they get my age, they'll probably be totally immersed in it. So it's just like patience with this new technology, and a lot of us don't have that patience. But I do agree with what the co-founder of the Sen was saying. Like we're a long way away. Like you have Vogue trying to get into the metaverse and all these other places, but it's going to take some time because you're talking about things that people it's tangible. People actually like to hold these things in their hand. So if you want to actually get them into not holding them in their hand and into like the metaverse of virtual reality, it's going to take some time.
Yep, sure. Let's go to Josh because his arm's fucking hurting. What's up?
Man, it's so sore. I'm so glad. I feel like I was holding textbook. No, I just wanted to touch base on the gaming thing. I mean, like GTA, there's an ad for GTA 6 coming out, or there was an ad for it in regards to incorporating NFTs to it, which is bullish for the long run. And if you're talking about the longevity of games, how long has GTA been around? Um, with the guns aspect and sharing like skins and guns and whatnot. I know, and there's a thousand different games out there. Just for my reference of what I know, Apex Legends or Apex is a newer game. It's a Fortnite type game that they have out. The guns that they have in that game are from another previous game that I failed to remember the name of. So that could be a cross-gen type of gaming thing where you could hold the guns. It all really depends on what company is owns the game, owns the rights to the game and the chain of games that they have. Um, in regards to what value the a gun of that type would be, the only thing I could think of, I don't know necessarily that they would go up in value, but just the simple fact that, I mean, I play Call of Duty. I play Call of Duty with my buddies almost every night. If I'm not doing stupid things on crypto and Twitter, whatever. But we buy skins, we buy guns. The benefit to that is you can sell them back. When you're done with the game, you could just sell them back. Right now, you don't have that option. Right now, you're stuck with them. If you're done with the game, that was money spent and lost. So that's one good positive thing I think about the NFTs in gaming are. There's another trend going on, and I've been in a bunch of spaces. I'm going to take Portals, for example. That's a metaverse type land or apartment, whatever you want to call it. There's a bunch of companies doing it out there right now. But I see like they're incorporating like art into their portal spaces and furnishing their spaces with NFTs, whether it's art or another NFT that is a game that they want to have in their arcade that's in their portal space. So that would bring more people to their portal space to come and hang out. So I see that trend happening too. And again, I don't know what the value of these little games would be. There's one I'm into. It's just like a little 8-bit game, a racing game, very simple. But it would be a cool thing to have along with 10 other arcade type games in your portal space, metaverse space going into the future. And again, I agree with everybody. We're a long ways away from everybody interacting with these portal spaces, or I'm sorry, with the metaverse spaces. That's just yet to be determined as far as I can see. I was writing notes as you guys were talking, so let me look at my notes. Yeah, it just comes down to the evolution of gaming. What's going to be popular 10 years from now? What's going to last for the next 10 years from now? And how they're going to integrate that to anything. You know, that's my thoughts on
it. Well, you went from arcades to in-home systems to virtual reality, and if you look at the timeline, I remember Commodore 64, Atari, that was in-home system before you had to go to an arcade to play these things. So I think that's why whatever we are into when it comes to gaming and the metaverse and stuff, we are pretty fortunate because we're early. I mean, just imagine if you get into something now that needs about 15 years to take off. And you buy a bunch of coins, that's what, like $5? And in 15 or 20 years, they're about $500 or $600. I
Yep.
mean, I mean, if you're young, that's not a long time. It's not. So that's why I think that just gotta, I think just realize what you hold and realize what you're investing in and not be impatient at the end of the day.
For sure. And I'd also say some people would say we're living a game right now. Um, but yeah, man, this talk is so interesting. It's getting late, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I gotta spend some time with the missus tonight. We gotta watch the rest of Stranger Things. Um, but if no one else is gonna come up,
I think I need to go game.
you know, we gotta, we might just wrap this thing. I mean, we've been going over 4 hours. We've been spewing a lot of information out here, some helpful stuff, a lot of educational, a lot of speculative stuff as well. But it's been a great night. What do you guys think? What do you ladies think about ending this thing here in like the next couple minutes?
Yeah,
Wolf,
I'm all for it.
I'm all
Okay.
for it. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Me too.
Cool. Cool. Cool.
Wolf,
Cool.
you gotta,
Probably time for me
Wolf,
to
you gotta
go
increase
game
the
and
pack.
shit too.
Sorry. What? Sorry. There was two people talking there. What,
I said,
sorry.
Wolf, you gotta increase the pack size.
No, sir. No, sir. I'm done. I am done. No, you heard it here first. Um,
Roe versus Wade for males.
yeah. Oh my God. Oh, that is a conversation, huh? We are not.
Yep,
That's another
let's
time.
wrap it
Yeah.
up.
Oh, V, how many drinks you been drinking? Damn, girl. No, I'm just kidding. Um,
Yo.
yo, she's giggling. You know damn well she's having a good time. Um, hey, if I find that snake, I'll break it. I'll ship it to you. But uh, I just want to say, thank you to everybody that was listening tonight. Those that have left, those that have come on just now, those that have just been here all night with us. We definitely appreciate it. Like I always say, time is the most valuable asset in the world, and guess what? You can't get back the time, that you spent with us tonight, and that's why we value it so much. So I definitely respect and appreciate it very much. We had special guests on tonight. Dames on the Blockchain. Please give them a follow on their Twitter channel, please. And also check out their Discord, and then give OV or Oculus Vision and Thymeless up here a follow, please. They would definitely appreciate it. I would too. Um, but it was definitely fun having you ladies on tonight. I mean, obviously you guys are on, pretty much every week, either listening or talking, anyways. And I'm always butting in, putting my big brain inside your Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. that you guys do on your Twitter live space as well. So yes, Dames on the Blockchain, 8 p.m., which is their new time, Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday nights, every Wednesday. They drop knowledge and bombs, and they hate me for it for coming in there and talking. No, I'm just kidding. Um,
No,
but
we don't.
I
No,
know.
we don't. No, we don't.
And no, it's super awesome. It's laid back. But like I said, give them a follow, and everybody, I appreciate your time. I'm gonna end it on this board, but I'm gonna let my co-host say their goodbyes, and then whoever's the speaker up here, feel free to say their goodbyes as well after the co-host. So go ahead, Timeless. Why don't we go with you first?
I'll just say we shared a lot of information tonight, and if everybody hadn't had a chance to be with us, it is definitely worthwhile. Listen back and follow back through. There was a lot of crypto news, a lot of breakdown. Um, throughout the whole thing. So I think that that's super important. Thank you, Wolf, for having us up here with you tonight as co-host. Really enjoyed our time. And the last thing I want to leave y'all with that I've been saying every week wherever I'm at is don't run from the market. Use this time to accumulate. Do your research. Do not get scared. Do not be the ostrich in the sand. This is your time now to put yourself in a position to start building wealth when the bull market comes back. So let's not run away. Let's grab our friends, bring them in, and give them some information and education, and let's build this thing.
Yeah, I agree with that. Thank you, Wolf, for having us. I had a great time with you. I love talking with you. I love when you come into our spaces. You are always welcome to come on the mic. And, you know, everything we spoke about tonight, I just hope you guys just, guys and girls, rather, and those who are listening will actually just listen to what we were saying and listen to the unbiased opinions and, take it for how it benefits you. Good night, everybody.
Good
Yeah.
night, and thank
Thank
you.
yeah, thank you, ladies. Did any of the speakers want to go ahead and say their goodbyes as well, or are we good?
I just want to say, Wolf, Timeless, Obi, I love you guys. I'm glad to be a part of it. It's been a minute since I've been on these spaces because I've been focusing on a promotional thing, and I'm just glad to be back. But just to piggyback, everybody be patient. The market it'll do its thing, and when it does, jump on it. Just be patient. Don't get too greedy, and it'll happen. Everybody, much love. Love everybody. Peace.
All righty. Old man with the dog. Did you want to say anything real quick, or?
Not, no, but thank you all. Great minds come together, great information is put out. Thank you all very much.
Yeah. Well, thank you again, everybody. Like I said, I'm going to end it on a soundboard. Feel free to go back to the recording if you missed any tonight. There was a couple. I think there was two spaces that we had over the course of the last 4 hours and 14 minutes due to the me getting rugged by my internet provider. But again, everybody, thank you again for your time. We value it so much, and I will say goodbye with this soundboard for you all. And I hope you all have a great weekend, and hopefully see you next Friday.
You know the rules, and so do I. Say goodbye.
Later.